Guys, I am back. I am sorry for that. I thought there was a little bit of a technical delay and things along that nature, but join me in here for the live chat. I appreciate all of you guys for it, and we've got NBA draft time here. I'm excited for it. Sorry about that. I saw that you were in the first one. We're going live for this, and let's just enjoy the time. Let's have ourselves a blast of a draft night. Adam Silver's right now talking on the podium 2025, and we obviously got the second pick in this year's draft, and I can't wait for it. If anything's going wrong, let me know, but hopefully everything's good on my end. I'm excited to talk with all of you guys tonight. I haven't had an extended kind of live here on Spurs Digest quite yet, so the fact that we get to do this here and we get to be together, I'm very excited for it. So if you guys do have any questions draft-wise, I'd love it. Dallas Mavericks on the clock. Great. I love it. I love it. For the people in here so far, how long have you guys been San Antonio Spurs fans? I'm interested to know if we have some long-time ones or we picked some people up maybe at a later date here. But how long have you guys been long-time San Antonio Spurs fans? 32 years is insane. I love it. I love it. Growing up, I was a basketball supporter my entire life myself, but a Spurs guy. I love watching the Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, those kind of things. But Cooper looks disgusted with going to Dallas. Since 98, since 13. Ooh, that 13 one, if you came in the year they lost to the Heat, that's a tough way to come in, but obviously resurrected in revenge season next year, getting the Heat out of there in 5 in fast order. So 13 is fun. For the people in here right now, just out of... Oh, I'm spoiled with winning. Yeah, you are spoiled with winning. For the people that are in here right now, is everyone wanting Dylan Harper at 2? Is anyone wanting to take a splash and possibly move off of the pick? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? Best time to be a bandwagon, absolutely. Harper. Take him and trade him. That'd be interesting, too. I was listening to Jason Timpf on one of his shows, and he had a guy on there. He was talking about the idea of, is Harper a better prospect than Castle? Obviously, with Harper at the number 2 pick, we had Castle last year at the 4, and Castle won Rookie of the Year. But do you guys feel higher right now about Dylan Harper or Stephon Castle overall? And I appreciate that, Robbie. I very much appreciate that. Since 80, I love that. Since 80, golly. George, since you were from 80, were you an ABA fan as well, or just Spurs in 1980? Fun thing about, actually, now Cooper Flag's obviously being talked about right now. Fun thing about Cooper Flag, I actually grew up a few hours away from him in Vermont. I grew up in northern Vermont, so I actually grew up a few hours away from Cooper Flag. So Cooper Flag feels like a hometown hero, even for me, even though like I'm not from Maine, but Maine is essentially just an extension of Vermont, like with New Hampshire and that. So shout out to that. But didn't watch the ABA fair. I didn't watch it either because I wasn't alive at that point. But I do respect what was going on in the ABA to the NBA. Glad we merged and we got the best league in the world with the 30 guys that we do have here. But Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. If Flag doesn't go first, I think the world will literally lose it, including me on this stream, because that means the Spurs are getting him at 2, and we're going to run off a dynastic run in the NBA if Flag doesn't go first. And I would love to see it because, I mean, Nico's already done one crazy thing. If he didn't, another one, but I mean, that pick is in right now, so we're going to see here very shortly, or maybe if someone's ahead of me on the stream-wise, they've already seen, but we're going to see here very shortly where Cooper Flag's going, and it's most likely going to be Dallas unless the world blows up. Oh, God, Newport, Maine. Has any of you guys ever been up to like the Maine-ish area or even like in the northeast of the United States at all to see what goes on in those rural areas? Because those areas are incredibly bleak. Depending, it's really nice, but it can be incredibly bleak. Listen, you're right. We could pull something crazy out. The thing about it is, the Spurs aren't just like once they take him at 2, it's not definitive of the fact that the Spurs are, oh yeah, we're done. Oh yeah, we're just gonna keep on the Spurs. Like by the end of the night, we got to keep our eyes open tonight, tomorrow, for the future because we don't know if Harper's really gonna be on this team. I would love for him to be because I do think he's an amazing basketball player, but we'll see. We will see. Noah Senga, I like that pick. Noah Senga would be great. Wow, they took Cooper Flag. No way. I bet he was shocked. I bet he was shocked. Here we go. Let's go. Shouldn't be surprised. No one should be surprised. I mean, this is just. It is what it is. But hey guys, after today, let me know if you should want me and the channel to go live even more because I would love to do these kind of things. So if we have fun tonight, why not go live more? We can maybe set up a time every week where we go live, but let me know how you guys feel about it. And again, don't feel afraid to ask any question at all because I would love to have open dialogue with all of you guys about this. Oh, live after every game? I'll be tough, but you know what? I mean, we can definitely try to make it a thing where we go live for games after certain big games, maybe some national TV ones, Christmas Day ones, but I'd love to. Oh, golly. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what we get for Harper. Does everyone feel Harper's consistently like the consensus second best player in this draft like I do? Is there anybody in their right mind that's thinking are they thinking maybe that it could be somebody else in a more immediate game reaction and breakdown after every game? We'll definitely try to do that more this coming year. I know this is our first full year as a channel here at Spurs Digest, which we've been loving it. It's been a fun time. So we very much appreciate all the love support here. But yeah, we'll definitely get on live games and trying to get going after every, because I mean, I'm watching all of them, so why not talk about them afterwards, get some talk with you guys as well. Spurs Nation. Also, with you guys, is there anything else that you guys feel like we might need to add to the channel or things that we could improve upon here too? I always love feedback, always love hearing what you guys, because obviously we do this for us, but we also do this for you. This is a super fun time talking Spurs, being Spurs, but also at the same time, of course, what you guys want is what you guys want too. So I'm just curious. Yeah, they can do the trade when they need to do the trade. Game clips, watch, highlight, react, always fun. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they can do the trade afterwards. Like if they were to draft Harper today, like because he doesn't instantly sign the contract, but once he signs the contract, I think like they can trade him at any point unless I'm mistaken on that. But I believe he can be moved whenever. So like if they took him, and typically you want to do it on draft night because you have your plans and you make moves around it, but like I do think he can be moved at any point. Also, everyone who's on here who knows Spurs fans and other Spurs fans, let us know about we're going live right now. Let's enjoy this draft together. I understand we only got 2 of the first 14 picks, but let's enjoy this together. Also, what did you guys think about trading the Indiana Pacers, the 38th pick, for a pick next year and some cash? I think it's interesting that we're kind of open up a little bit more space and obviously getting rid of a pick and getting a little bit more cap room. It makes me believe that the Spurs are looking to do something a little more money-wise and more trade-wise, move-wise. And you obviously want to clear as much capital and much cap room as possible. So I think that that's interesting for me. I was very interested in that Spurs move. They got his jersey already made. Golly. These people would have literally lost their mind in Dallas if they decided not to take Cooper Flag. They would have gone insane. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. We have 2 and 14. And the big question of the day for a lot of it is, do you guys think we should move off of 14? Because obviously we have 2, and that's Harper. And regardless, if we're not going to move off of Harper unless we're getting a star or a star caliber all-star and plus back. But do you think we should move off of the 14th pick, possibly go out and get a Cam Johnson style guy, or do we just stay and we get a big? What do you guys think that we should do with that move? I personally trust anything they decided to. Alejandro, I agree with that there. I was just curious. Oh, no, Flag's not. Dallas is going to be good next year, but with Kyrie not being back until at least January, that's going to be interesting for them. Oh, the pick's in for the Spurs. Let's go.
With the second pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper.
There we go. There we go. It is so good to hear it. Oh my goodness gracious. It is so good to hear it. Dylan Harper, we got him. No more ifs, ands, or buts about it. We now get one of the guys who is one of the best downhill players in this draft. We get a guy who off the bounce can create. He can shoot. The thing with him is he's got to get a little bit quicker of a shooting motion, but when he is open, he is actually a very good knockdown shooter. Playing off Ace Bailey, he knows how to play off the ball. Plus, you have now him with De'Aaron Fox, with Stephon Castle, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and of course, Victor Wembanyama. Dylan Harper is going to come in here and be a guy who is going to play 28 to 32 minutes a night, and I think that he can easily get you 14, 4 and 6 in his rookie year. Easy. So I love the fact that we got him 14, 4 and 6 as a rookie, playing alongside Castle, Fox, and Wemby and others. Yeah, we got our guy. We got our guy. I love it. Go Spurs, go. He has polished 19.4 points last year, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Worked so well in the pick and roll watching these highlights now. It's good to see. It's good to see. No, Rutgers didn't make the NCAA tournament, which is one of the crazy things. My perfect 14, to be quite honest with you, with us now trading away that pick and getting cash considerations, I think my perfect 14 would honestly be taking another athletic wing, and I know that sounds crazy, but I do think there's a lot of bigs in free agency that we could go get. Bobby Portis types, Naz Reid types. We don't know. Possibly Luke Cornett's going to be trying to get re-signed back by the Celtics. If he's not there, we'll see what Al Horford is. Guys like that. I think there's so many guys out there like that that can come in who are bigs, who are veterans, who can shoot but also play defense. I think you can get a guy like Cedric Coward. I think get a guy like Carter Bryant if he does drop to that. He's projected to Phoenix at 10 most likely. But if you could get a guy like that, then I think you go there. Rasheer Fleming I do like. I think Rasheer Fleming is an interesting prospect. Also, with him it's weird because I've seen so many different mocks that have him in the lottery, but then I have him all the way down to maybe the 22nd, 23rd pick. So Rasheer Fleming is a guy that I feel like you could almost trade back into the first round and get. That's if you wanted to trade some of the assets that we have. But I personally would go with a guy like Cedric Coward, maybe Carter Bryant if he's there, a guy like that. But if both those two are gone, then you go a big Thomas Sorber, Rasheer Fleming, Joan Bringer, Noah Asenge is another guy that I like a lot. So it really depends on what 9 through 13 does, but I'm looking Cedric Coward would be the one guy that I'm eyeing right now. I think he has true upside of being a quality player, a quality starter in the league. And you just saw it with the Pacers, the Thunder, and how they played basketball here in the finals with a lot of wings with a lot of depth and versatility. The Spurs it's going to be different. And I love it because we usually we got Tim Duncan, and then obviously early on it was the Admiral, Avery Johnson, Sean Elliott, and then you move on, you get these young guys who are later picks, Tony Parker, Manu, and then you build off of that. You get the guys like Bruce Bowen, Boris Diaw, Marco Bellinelli, Patty Mills. You get those kind of guys. So you're right. When we're building with this young youth, but we also have our Tim Duncan 2.0 kind of style player and the supernova of Victor Wembanyama, from there it just works. I don't think Carter Bryant falls. I do think it probably goes at 10 to Phoenix as of right now. I had him going to 10 to the Rockets because I felt he fit there, but I also think with the way they traded away Kevin Durant, they need guys who can play defense. They have enough shot creators in Jalen Green, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal being there since they can't get rid of him. They need some guys who can actually play defense on the wing, athletic, and I think Carter Bryant would slide in there perfectly, be able to play 24 to 28-ish minutes a game. Ron Harper stole that woman. Oh, goodness. Man, I wonder how far do you think Ace Bailey falls in this draft? I know people were talking consensus number 3 early on, but then he didn't want to work out for a lot of teams and so on and so forth from there. How far do you think this guy falls? Yeah, I could see him. Ace going to Utah. Utah with 5, going 6, 7. I could see him falling. I could truly see him falling to about 7-ish. But I also don't know why that's what you would want. I guess you want to. Like, I just don't know why that's what you would want. Like, Ace is so talented, but he just seems to lack the basketball acumen at times. It's kind of odd. But could we package something for that Duke center? So it depends on where he falls to. Like, if you get past the 7 to the 8 mark, I mean, Devin Vassell is going to be in a lot of trade packages, and Jeremy Sochan out teams would probably be in some packages as well. So if you're thinking about it, you'd probably look at like Jeremy Sochan, the 14th pick, and moving up to like the 7th, possibly to try to snag, or 8th to snag him. Maybe take that from Brooklyn. That'd be interesting. Let's see where Philly goes. VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe. That makes a lot of sense. I know he's only 6'4"-ish, but with Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey there, but you get a guy who is different than those two, a lot of raw athleticism that's stupid. He doesn't even know about his own athleticism, to be quite honest with you. He's crazy. So I do like that pick for him. You get a more mature guy. It's not to, you don't want to get another finicky guy in Ace Bailey who you don't know when you already have a guy in Joel Embiid who is in and out. Centers who can't shoot, yeah, no, I get you there. I actually feel that as well. Centers who can't shoot in today's NBA, you need them at least have a little bit of a jumper. So they can at least stretch out and hit 22, maybe hit a 3, top of the key, side wing, if you hit a corner 3 there. They don't all need to be perfect, but if you can, that Miles Turner build of center is like the perfect center these days. Big body, can defend at a high level, but also can shoot and then play make a little bit. If you can get guys like that alongside of your stars, that's perfect. Uncle Dennis. Now, truly, Ace is playing with fire, and hopefully it works out for him. I mean, cross-sport comparison, we saw how Shedeur Sanders, how he obviously fell down to late for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, if he was proper in interviews, maybe a team like the Steelers do take him when they're drafting, I believe, at 21 or something along those lines. Maybe he's not a second or third round pick, and he doesn't have 2 guys, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shucks, like guys like that. So crazy. So you're playing with fire, but obviously the thing about Ace Bailey compared to Shedeur is Ace has got so much immense talent that it's hard to, you can't like have him drop out of the lottery really. Where as in Shedeur was good, very talented, but not a surefire player like that. So interesting. Oh my golly. He has no idea of how bouncy this guy is. My goodness. He's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see where the Hornets go here. I think the Hornets go with Khan. I do think they need a more mature player. Even though Khan's young, he's a more mature player. I think Ace Bailey with Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball in Charlotte would be a lot. I think it's a lot of talent. Miles Bridges as well. It'd be a lot of talent, but it's also kind of crazy. Man, getting Malowatch, it truly all depends on how far he starts to fall, because if we have to move up a couple, who do you hope we have available realistically? You would hope you could choose between Noah Senge, Carter Bryant if he's there, but Noah Senge, Cedric Coward. Obviously, I think Khan and them are going to be gone, but I would love for those two. Derek Queen starting to fall out. I think Derek Queen would be another guy that we could get as well. So, Derek Queen, Noah Senge, Cedric Coward, would probably be the three guys, Thomas Sorber as well, Asa Newell. Those would be the guys at 14 that you would like to have an option at, because I think if you get that, you can do a lot. And if someone like an Ace Bailey or someone falls because of that, you're going to have a lot of people interesting to trade up with us. So I think that's interesting too. So we'll see. Shout out to VJ. I love the drafts. You get these guys who have, for all their entire lives, been working up to these moments, and then they finally get to these moments, and it's like, man, it's crazy. So I like it. Danny Wolf, no, honestly, Danny Wolf is nice. I like him. I think the thing with him is he's had an offensive-centric kind of build around him for a long period of time at Michigan, or for time at Michigan. We'll see if he's able to kind of transition out of that. But as just a pure playmaker, obviously no one's Jokic, but you always try to look for that because you see what's working in the NBA and then you try to mimic it. And so you have a big guy who is big, can pass, can shoot, can play high post, low post, can kind of bring the ball up. And then defensively, Danny Wolf's actually not that heavy of a foot. He's actually a pretty light foot for how big he is. Can rim protect a bit. It's just it's how easy going to transition because he doesn't do anything great, and athletically he's not over the top. But at the same time, there's a lot to like with him. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Oh, Philly definitely did get this right. I'm really excited. I'm very excited to see what goes on for the Hornets here. For the people that are in here as Spurs fans, what's your guys' favorite Spurs season that you're watching, like front to back? What's your favorite Spurs season? For me, I love the 2014 Spurs season. Obviously, that's one of my more ones that I have a big memory on. But I also love that 07 Spurs season, too. That one was just front to back, a lot of domination, great play from a bunch of people. But that 2014 team, I think I like the revenge. I agree with you. The 2014 team, that revenge, I feel like that was one of the more satisfying ones, especially because a lot of you had the big Timmy miss in Game 7. You obviously had the Ray shot in Game 6. LeBron 37 and 12 in that Game 7. So you come back after that heartbreaking loss and you're like, okay, we are just running through. And then you run through and you get to the finals. You see the same team there and you oust them in 5. I think that for the Spurs, me as a Spurs guy, I think that was probably the one for me that I like. I think Walter Clayton gives a lot of good vibes. I have Walter Clayton going 25 to Orlando, as they still kept that pick, even though they traded away their 16th pick in the trade with Desmond Bane. 2003 was another good one. That championship against the Nets, that was another good one. But I would say that Walter Clayton is going to Orlando at 25. And I like him there because they do need another mature player off the bench. Jamal Murray is an interesting comp with him. I think that Walter Clayton's going to come in. He's going to give you leadership qualities. He's going to give you a veteran presence, a guy who's going to work hard, and a guy who can shot make at a high level. So I think he could actually benefit a team. Shout out to Con Knipple at 4. That's where, in my latest mock, mentally, this is where I had Con going at 4. And then I have Utah. I think Utah is the first one where I didn't feel 100% confident. I feel like they could go either Jeremiah Fears or they could even go Trey Johnson here. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, you end up with Capella? Centers do get re-signed a lot, and I think it's because they're in a league like this, there's so much depth that getting a quality big man actually matter, and we've seen over the last few years with the dominance of Jokic, the dominance of Embiid. I mean, the last 6 of the last 7 MVPs have been bigs. I mean, Giannis is essentially a big at 6'11", doesn't really have much of an outside shot. He's just a force. So other than Shea this year, it's been Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid. So when you have those kind of presence, you've got to get bigs. Obviously, with the Lakers won a chip, Anthony Davis there, so the Warriors won it, but they didn't have a big. Giannis won, Jokic won, so that kind of thing. But versatile bigs matter. Absolutely matter. Yes, they do look for centers as well. Like they need them. I mean, it's hard. You can't really compete when one of the gold standards is the Denver Nuggets in your conference, especially Lakers and Warriors wise. You've got to. And then in the Eastern Conference, they had Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Being big and versatile, that just changes everything. Like Chet Holmgren, if he can really tap into his potential, is going to be a game changer because of that height. And obviously, I didn't even mention the name yet, but we all know this guy right here. That's going to be the game changer. People are going to be drafting teams to stop that guy right there within the next couple of years because he's about to take over this league. Health aside, he's going to take over this league. Derek Queen available? Actually, maybe. I know after that game winner, there was talks about him like mid-lottery, and then now he's fallen back to where probably he was going to go, which is late lottery. And I would like Derek Queen. I truly would like Derek Queen. If we got Derek Queen, we got a true big who can actually play, make, and create a little bit off the bounce, off the bench. The only thing with him is he is a little shorter. But I do like Derek Queen overall. I think that he could be a good addition for the roster. Yeah, and Wemby plays like a forward. So, like, yeah, it makes 100% sense. Wemby is pretty much just a power forward, even though he's a center size. He's over a center size. So, like, it's kind of in between with him. Castle would pretty much be your 3 because he's the most versatile. He plays the most like a wing. I mean, it really doesn't make a huge difference. But if you want to go by like traditional sense, able to have Fox at the 1, Harper at the 2, Castle at the 3, then probably Jeremy Sochan at the 4, Wemby at the 5. And I would play all 3 of them at the same time for good stretches of games. I'd close with that, and I'd probably open with that. I just think that at this point, you want to close with your 5 best players and you want to open up with the players that are really good. So I would say that I would do that personally. Who I do not want us to take. I don't want to take Igor Demon. I don't want to take any guy. I don't want to take any other guard that's there. So, like, Jace Richardson's talked around that spot. I don't need Liam McNeely. I think Liam McNeely is a guy that if you're going to get, you could trade back and get him at this point. I thought earlier on he possibly could, but there's been guys who have been there. I don't think we need guards. We're good with guards. I don't think that we need any more guards. If we're going to get a forward, let's get a 6'7" plus athletic forward who can kind of bounce around to being a 2 to 4. I mean, more like a 3-ish. So I'm fine with wings. Castle will excel at a 3. And you have to think in the position of basketball that we are in, it's essentially like he's just playing a wing. Like he's like defensively, can Castle guard 1, 2, or 3? Yes. Like, because your 3's on, take your 3. Can Castle guard Jalen Williams? Yeah, he's not going to be at like a deficit. Jalen Williams is nice, don't get me wrong. But like you're not going to be at a deficit guarding Jalen Williams. The Pacers trotted out there in their starting lineup, the Halliburton, Nembhard, and Nesmith. If they can do that, last year the Celtics trotted out Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown. Castle can guard all three of them. Castle can guard all three of the ones prior. Castle are going to be able to guard 1 through 3 easy. So Castle at your 3 is fine. Castle would be your 3. One is Fox, 2 is Harper, 3 is Castle's your small forward. That's got to be the way you want him. Castle, people have been sleeping on Castle a bit, and I think it's because last year people feel like it wasn't the best draft. They thought it was a good one, not a great one, but you have like Risa Shea, and then you have obviously Alex Sarr going first. It wasn't these high-level names that you have for this year, and so Castle comes in at the 4 pick and shows a lot of talent, bounce, explosiveness, playmaking ability, and all of that stuff. And then, okay, he wins Rookie of the Year. Only a few other Spurs have ever done that, and we know the names of those Spurs. They're kind of all-time great guys. And then he comes in also, and then now we get the 2 pick, and since we've gotten the 2 pick, it's been, we got Dylan Harper. We've got Dylan Harper. So people are going to sleep on Castle. And that's the thing about it is Stephon Castle was ready to be the 3rd in a big 3 with Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, and himself. In my personal opinion, I think he could have definitely evolved into being that 3rd best guy on a championship level team. Now he may be the 4th? Like, are you kidding me? That's crazy. Ooh. Okay, Utah. Hey, Ace is going to have a fun time in Mormon country. He's probably going to go hang out with, oh my God, I can't even think of the guy's name who's playing at BYU this year. Oh, golly, I can't even think of his name right now, but shout out to him. I have not heard any specific news on CP3. So the thing about CP3 is he would fit this roster as perfect as a person could fit a roster if you could tell him, hey, you're only playing 22 minutes a game, you're coming off the bench, and he was fine with that. If he's fine with that, like, being the result, then cool. But if not, then that's going to be the issue. That is going to be the issue. I don't really know what fits the Utah Jazz, if I'm going to be quite honest with you right now. Like, they have some players that are like solid, but they don't have anything special. Like, I like Lauri Markkanen's very good. You like Colin Sexton, Keontae George, Walker Kessler. So like, you've got pieces, but you don't have like a team really where you're like, okay. And the thing about Ace Bailey that's interesting is he does have like a star upside. It's just, can you get the maturity level there? And I guess if Danny Ainge is co-signing, drafting him, he's either saying, yeah, we have faith that he can develop into something with a great eye, when he has a great eye for talent, or he thinks that another team is going to be like, oh, they took Ace, let's trade for him. So that might be a double move, and we'll see. And yes, thank you for the name, AJ DeBonsa. AJ DeBonsa and Ace Bailey are going to be chilling and hanging out, so they're going to be having a good time. CP3 in Dallas makes sense. CP3 in Dallas makes sense. If he was in Dallas, you have him taking him for Kyrie. He gets to learn from Cooper Flag, to play in that pick and roll with AD. CP3 in Dallas makes sense. He has a 5 he can start around, and he wouldn't mind coming back off the bench for Kyrie Irving, especially because he can still play his 26, 27 minutes a game in that role. So Dallas makes a lot of sense for CP3. I wonder if he's actually happy to be going to Utah. I really do. I mean, he had to go to Rutgers, so like, but I mean, again, I'm interested to see. He kind of does look a little funky. Yeah, the thing with Dallas is like, When they traded Luka, they basically said, hey, we have a 3-year time window. And then the basketball gods came down on them and said, hey, we'll plant your flag here. And they were like, okay, we'll take it. I guess for selling our soul to the NBA and giving the Lakers Luka, we'll then come back in and give this. That's fine. But, I mean, hey, they've got themselves a future, but they're right now. They are right now. You've got Klay Thompson right now, ready player. Kyrie, when he comes back right now, ready player. You've got AD, but you still got Derek Lively, who is younger, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. So, like, I think PJ Washington's still there. So, yeah, Dallas is going to be interesting. If they do tank for DeBonta, that'd be interesting. Jerry and Chris, those two guys, I haven't heard too much about them, and I think it's just because of how much talent the league, the league has. And honestly, this draft has, and like what teams are looking for. It's honestly why I think you're not going to have, why they haven't been really in too many first round mocks. But you never know. That's where scouting department comes in, and you see what goes on. Yeah, no, the Nets need to go do something crazy and spice this thing up. The Nets are definitely doing something this year. It's almost like they can't have I believe it's the 6th, no, the 8th, the 22nd, the 26th, the 27th pick this year's draft. Something along those lines. Like, they've traded for so many picks. They've got to be packaging those for something. And I know they wanted Harper. Like, they could try to be packaging all of that and then Cam Johnson for something. Like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. And we'll see what goes on, and we'll see how it works. But, man, oh, man, the Nets can't stay. They can't just be like, hey, we're going to just take a bunch of young talent and go from there. They must be looking to make trades with something. There's got to be a big trade tonight. There's just got to be at least one big trade tonight. What do the Wizards get? Ooh. It's a professional bucket getter right there for Washington. I like that pick. You know. Why they package for anything? I mean, they might not. You might just say, hey, we're going to try to take as many people as possible. But at the same time, do you really feel like you're going to find your picks at 8-19 or 8-22, 26, 27? I want to say their picks are in this draft, or 19, 26, 27, wherever the case may be for the picks. But, like, do you think you can get the future there? But we'll see. And, the NBA draft today has been amazing. And, I mean, as a Spurs fan, you don't really get all that high of draft picks take out the last few years. It was the same thing. I'm growing up from Vermont. I'm a Patriots fan. I've been more invested in the drafts over the last 5 years than I have ever been in my entire life, because before it was hey guys, we're going to go and we're going to get to the AFC Championship game. We'll figure it out from there. So, like, obviously once you lose that guy and just go on from there, and then you have to actually build yourself upon something, it makes it interesting. But I do think the Knicks will try to find their way into a point guard. Or not Knicks, sorry, the Nets. But the thing about it is, too, Washington took Trey Johnson at 6. So there's still Kasparis, and there's still Jeremiah Fears at guard. And only the Pelicans in front of them, and the Pelicans probably aren't taking. So we'll see. We'll see if the Pelicans go Malowatch or if they go somewhere else interesting. But we'll see again. And also, too, I think it's interesting here. The Spurs could maybe trade. If Malowatch falls to like 10 or 11, the Spurs could possibly move up for him. Yeah. I think if you do trade Cam, you're going to trade him to someone like the Spurs for the 14th pick. You're going to try to trade up and just try to build through the draft more. Because you're either building for draft capital and like taking a bunch of picks to try to just get as many picks as possible, or you're gaining these picks to try to go make a splash for a player. And there's not really a huge splash player out there that makes sense for them to grab financially and for like their future. Obviously, if you want to try to go get like Giannis, but like I don't think realistically that's gonna happen. So like, those are the type of players that you would have to try to go get, and if not, you try to make money for room for money elsewhere. So we'll see. Mm. I was a fan of Trey Johnson. I honestly thought the Spurs were gonna get Trey Johnson, and I was gonna be super duper excited about that pick. But I mean, even then, we'll see. Obviously, we'll see. We're not gonna get Trey Johnson, obviously, but once we got to second, you're just even more happy and more happy. But I was actually very much hoping for. I was hoping for that. Nothing better than these NBA draft moments with parents. Nothing better than that. Mm-hmm. Ace Bailey. Golly. Go Spurs, go. Go Spurs, go. What are we thinking right now? I know there's different people in here before. We kind of talked about it a little bit. What are we thinking right now for a trade of the 14th pick? Do we think we keep it or do you think we move off? Also, I actually have a question for you guys, too. Keep it, we need a center bad, move off. Okay. I actually have a question for you guys. How do we feel about the finals presentation? How do we feel about ESPN's presentation of basketball? And do we think that NBC is going to do a much better job? Are we excited for that? Ooh, Harper will be better than Flag. I love it. Jeremiah Fears. Ooh. So they do go Fears. So we wonder where Brooklyn's going to go now with that 8th pick. Are they going to go Kasparis? Are they going to go Malawach? Where are they going to go with that pick? That's interesting to see. I mean, everyone here in the chat, who is your favorite Spurs player of all time, too? I want to know. You hated ESPN for the last few years. Want the big from Kentucky. Want the big from Kentucky. But ESPN over the last few years, I just haven't loved how things have been going for them and how they've been presenting things. I think obviously, if you guys watched the NBA Finals this year, there's a lot of conversation around Doris Burke, Richard Jefferson, and Mike Breen. The presentation of it, not giving it the same feel of an NBA Finals and how that is. But, I mean, obviously the basketball supersedes anything, so I love the basketball product that we saw on the floor. I think it was one of the best products we've had in a while for our finals, truly. But at the same time, I'm really hopeful that NBC can bring some new flair, new pizzazz. You want to get that feeling of this is a massive moment, this is a huge moment. And if you can get that feeling, you can get that love, that support of it. That's what you want, of course. I got two, Timmy and David, hard not to. Manu's so much fun. Manu, so much fun to watch. He was one of those guys who was a Spurs guy by not being a Spurs guy at the same time. Like, obviously, he's a Spurs guy for the work ethic, the heart, the intelligence, the hunger to win. But then at the same time, it was the flash. It was the unorthodox. It was all that good stuff. You're like, okay, you love it. It's hard not to be a Manu fan. Absolute dog. I don't know why the NBA left NBC, but hey, hopefully with it coming back, it's going to be good. And maybe Michael Jordan as an analyst is going to be solid. We'll see. I hope he doesn't think he's Curry. Knowing Steph, that's crazy. A big man, a big man, a big man, a big man. All right, Darius, who do you think the big man should be at 14? Does it matter who or just any big man? Ooh, from the UK. Love it. Love it. Golly. Dude from Kentucky. I'm still in the Cedric Coward range. That's my 14th pick, and I'll be super excited if they go Cedric Coward. I Wemby is just such a talented basketball player, and he is such a unique unicorn alien style basketball player that when you get a guy like that, he can do just so much. And I know you need other bigs. I just feel like you can fill those in with there's some free agent guys that you can just fill in and get. And I know I was going to say in the second round too. Obviously, we traded away our second round pick, but I would go Cedric Coward here. I truly would. If you want to go future two, kind of split it in the middle. Noah Senga, I know he's not a true big, but like he's kind of like one of those versatile questions. But I personally love Cedric Coward. I just think Cedric Coward is going to be a difference maker style player in the league. And when you're coming into as an older guy, I think when you come into the league as an older guy, as a kind of veteran-ish, obviously, kind of player coming into the draft, you're ready to more so win now. Obviously, when you have the Cooper Flag talent, the Dylan Harper talent, you can go in and win anywhere because you're already ready to play. But when you get to those role players, you see the guys who are role players who come in and they play instantly a little bit better because of the fact that they've played more high-level basketball and been in more high-level basketball moments. And I know Coward was injured a lot of last year, but he has been in college for a few years now. I do think that he would be a great pick. But, yeah. Love, man. Timmy's my favorite all-time, if I didn't actually say that. Timmy Duncan is the most underrated superstar of my lifetime. In my all-time rankings, I have him over Kobe Bryant, and people think I'm insane, and that's fine. They can think I'm insane. Each have 5 championships. Tim Duncan, 2-time MVP. Obviously, Kobe Bryant's made more defensive teams, I believe, just for his tenure, but I also think at a peak level, Tim Duncan was a more disruptive defender. He was more impactful on winning all over. I just think that Tim Duncan's a better player than Kobe Bryant. I know people think I'm insane for that. I don't really care. I just I have my opinion, and that's my opinion on it, and that's how I feel. But, yeah, no, absolutely. He should be around it. But to me, he's the second tier because I think, for me personally, my GOAT combo, it's Kareem, Mike, and Braun, not in that order. And then I think he's in that second kind of tier with Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, all like those kind of guys, like with those guys there. Obviously, Bill Russell, depending as well. Like, it just depends on where you have him. But I think those are a lot of great guys. But also, Colin Murray Boyles, I haven't mentioned his name yet. I do like him. I do like him a lot. I just think that he doesn't fit perfectly with what we have. I think we could work with him, though, absolutely. So I'd be excited if we got him, but I don't think he's perfect for us. Yeah. As a fan here, who would you guys be upset that we didn't take? Like, if we took him at 14, who would you be upset about? Yegor Demon, that makes so much sense. I thought they were going to take Asparis, but Yegor Demon's the same kind of guy. Same kind of guy. You get a big combo guard who can play make on the exterior. I thought that's where Brooklyn would go with a guy like that. So, whew. Malawach is probably going 9 to Toronto, honestly. I think Toronto's going to be super happy that they got him. But maybe if he falls past 9, the Spurs could easily trade up for him. Just as a little quick aside. Better than LeBron's a little interesting to me personally, just because. So he has obviously the better finals, of course, and I think Timmy's phenomenal. But when you have LeBron, you have the 4 MVPs, you've got the All NBA teams, you obviously got the most scoring of all time, the more points per game. I think that LeBron is kind of just a special special type of player. So is Tim, don't get me wrong. Tim Duncan came in out of Wake Forest and literally put up 21 and 11. He came out a man, the top 15 player when he came in. Okay, Duke player. Okay, so you want Malowach. That makes more sense. I was trying to think of the Kentucky guy. I was like, I've done some. I just couldn't think to my head if that was who you're thinking of. But Malowach, that makes sense. Yeah, I would like to get him as a big. I would like to get him as a big. I think that he is going to be a nice player in this league. And if you get a guy like that alongside Wemby, that's going to be very interesting. I do think though that Toronto wants him, and that's their pick right now, but they're also going to be fielding some calls and going to be fielding in some interest and intrigue there. Are we talking including this 14th pick or without this 14th pick, like in idea? Because the 14th pick could change how I feel about this a little bit, but overall, I think the Spurs can legitimately become a playoff team, getting past the play-in, and be a second-round team realistically. And from there, it's kind of how it goes. Because 1 through 5 right now, you would start, as I've said, I think it would be Fox, Harper, Castle, Sochan, Wemby, and then off the bench you've got Devin Vassell. You've still got Harrison Barnes, or maybe they start Barnes instead of Sochan, whatever the case may be. But you have Devin Vassell off the bench. You have Harrison Barnes off the bench. You have Keldon Johnson off the bench. You have whomever you're going to get at the 14th pick right now. And then obviously you're going to need to get a big at some point. You're going to get some sort of big depth. And then you're going to hopefully get a point guard who can be a shooter. Someone like a Tyus Jones would be interesting to get. But I think the Spurs easily could be a 48-34 team that gets to the second round of the playoffs after being a 4 or 5 seed. Right now is how I feel about this team. I think they can skip the play-in and like getting to that point. I think they can get right to a 4 or 5 seed. You would obviously have the Thunder favored over everybody right now. The Nuggets are going to be obviously always in the mix when you have Jokic. After that, you're going to see what the Lakers do with them having a full year of LeBron and Luka. They could be an interesting tandem. You'll see what the Warriors do with Steph. Obviously, the Timberwolves made a run last year, so it'll be interesting to see. Yes, I can come back to that if the answer does change. I don't think it will heavily change, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, we don't know what a trade's going to be or if they do trade or do anything with it, but I do think that the Spurs are a second-round team next year, 48-34-ish record. I think that they're just that good and that talented. I don't think Wemby's, obviously, the whole blood clot, I don't think that's going to set him back. De'Aaron Fox is fine. He just needed to fix the finger. Castle looked great last year. Harper looked great. And then you get a full year of Mitch Johnson being able to actually implement his system and not the looming of when is Gregg Popovich coming back? Is Gregg Popovich going to be healthy? Is he okay? You get the full, Gregg is here to help out 100%, but I'm also able to kind of do my own thing and actually there. So I think that overall, that's probably what I would have. 48-34. I think it'd probably be the same after the pick, but I will revisit that after the pick as well to get my confirm. Devin has been a bit of a disappointment last year. Also, coming off of that foot injury, I know it's not a huge injury. It was an injury that I had, though, that broken kind of fifth metatarsal in your foot. It's an annoying one, and it's annoying because like you have to fully let it heal before you do it, because if not, it's just such a weak bone that it's just gonna break again. So he wasn't able to fully get in rhythm, and then he was in a completely different role because not completely different, but he had a different role because it was with Stephon Castle there instead, so he has to kind of go in mid-season. You have Chris Paul there as well, so he's in a different role. And then De'Aaron Fox comes in, and then people get injured. So it was a tough year for Devin to just fully adjust instantaneously to how it's been going on. And there was a lot of change around him comparatively to him just being like, hey, you're essentially the number 1 or number 2 option every year. So we'll see. You said there's no sound on my mic, question mark? Free agent that I think would most benefit the Spurs would be Naz Reid if he becomes fully available enough for us to get. I know contractually we're in a weird spot contractually where we're underneath everything, but we can't take on too much money. But I think if there was a way to work it out, even if it had to be a little sign and trade, I think Naz Reid would be. Get a guy who is a 6'10-ish big, 6'11-ish big, who can rebound the ball decently well, can very much stretch the floor, shoot the ball from the outside, play it in high-leverage basketball moments, and you don't get really a precipitous dip when Wemby comes off in the style of play you can play, because Naz Reid can do about 90% of the things that Wemby can at just like a 60% level. Of course, obviously it's Wemby, he's a supernova, but like he can do the pick and pop, the pick and roll. Obviously defensively he's not the rangy guy, but offensively you get the kind of same kind of thing with it. So I would say Naz Reid would be the guy that I am the most interested in free agent wise, because I think guard wise we don't really need anything other than like a true pack up, like a point guard who can come in for 15 minutes and spell people. Ooh, do they go Malowatch at 9? No, they take Colin Murray Boyles. Oh, golly. The Spurs might need to be getting on some phones. The Spurs might need to be getting on some phones with Phoenix. Because, Malowatch is falling. Oh, we might need to get on the phone. If we can go get up and get Malowatch, ooh, boy. I like it. Come on, San Antonio. Go do something crazy. Go do something crazy. Oh, shout out to Chloe Kitts in South Carolina. You guys are runners-up this year, but Paige Becker's got you all the way up out of there. All the way up out of there. Yeah, no. Colin Murray Boyles can play. He can play. Oh, you're talking about Chaz Lanier? Oh, the Lakers drafted, sorry, last year you were talking about. My bad. My bad. I thought you were talking about this year. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a bad draft at all. Ooh. I'm interested. I thought that the Raptors are really gonna go with the Malowatch. Murray Boyles, I do like that. He's an athletic player. He fits in today's NBA perfectly fine because he can play big, but also can play on the outside. I like him. You know, they need to pick up the phone right now and talk to Phoenix. So, Durant-wise, I wanted Durant for the right price. You never want to give up a player or not get a player like Kevin Durant, especially when you have the opportunity to. And I think the right price would have been Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and the 14th pick, personally. I think when it comes to putting Jeremy Sochan in, I think that's when it gets a little bit tough and a little bit difficult. Obviously, Jeremy Sochan's would have been tough to bring back anyways, but I think if you're giving up that much, you're going to want a little bit more. But Kevin Durant, when he went for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th pick in this year's draft in 5 seconds, I think that's a little bit too much of a price tag. I wouldn't have wanted to pay that. For Houston, though, it makes a lot of sense because essentially they had a lot of depth and talent. You fill in what Kevin Durant was going to do with, or Jalen Green with what Kevin Durant's going to do. They do lose an enforcer in Dylan Brooks, but at the same time, that's still something that they get in Ime Udoka, and they've got players on that team who can enforce. So for Houston, I think that was the right move, and they were in a position last year. They lost to the Warriors because they didn't have enough shot creation. So now you get a guy who can still put up 25 a game. He put up 26.6 last year, 52% shooting from the floor, 43% from three. So you get a guy like that and Kevin Durant to be in that position. It's gonna be nice. Now Houston might, but it's more so the Suns. But the Suns might honestly go with Malawach. They might. And it would make sense for them too. I mean, they've already got a bunch of guard depth as is. So the Suns roster has definitely changed from what they had prior, and they need a lot, but they also need some bigs, so like that could be something that they take. It could definitely be something that they take. I mean, at center right now, they've got Mason Plumlee solid, Bol solid, but like nothing too special. And at forward, they don't really have anything. They've got a bunch of wings, so Malawach slides them there. Perfect. Yeah, Bol would be an interesting pick too. It's weird because Bol is like what Wemby is what Bol mentally was gonna be for a lot of people. That big who can take it off the bounce, do a lot of alien, weirdish unicorn stuff. He obviously just hasn't panned out because he just doesn't have the work ethic that someone like Wemby has. So. Oh yeah, Jalen Green didn't show up at all. I mean, he had game 2 against the Warriors where he went over 30. But other than that, he was a no-show that entire series. You had a better chance of hitting a bet if you bet him under 10 than over 15, which is insane. Golly, I'm hopeful that something happens big. Give me some big trade. Also, if you guys do have any other questions here too, I'm fine to answer. Spurs related or unspurs related, basketball related, whatnot. I love talking basketball. Of course, I love talking Spurs. That's what we're here for. But any other questions, I'm very interested in. I'd love to keep this dialogue going on. Ace Bailey is in a weird position. Like, I think he's in a place where he's going to have to be more mature, honestly. And I know that that's a good thing. Like, I think he could get caught up in the Charlotte nightlife. And I also think I love LaMelo Ball. But I also think that hanging out with LaMelo every day could have been a little bit dangerous. But I think Utah, if his true focus is playing basketball at a high level and being an NBA prospect and being an NBA true player, I think Utah actually was not a bad spot for him. Where do the Rockets go? Yep, Malawach is going. Malawach is going to good old Phoenix. That was nice. They needed that. That makes their starting five, me hate it just a hair less. I mean, they have Nick Richards, who is solid. So obviously you've got Nick Richards there, but also at the same time now you've got you can go Nick Richards and Malawach if you really wanted to go both of them, but really probably not Malawach at the starting five. I hate the fact they have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Jalen Green, though. That's so gross. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, golly, that's so gross. But hey, shout out to him, though. I would have loved for the Spurs to have traded up. Would have loved for the Spurs to trade it up, so. It is what it is, though. Thing about it is we got Portland, Chicago, Atlanta, San Antonio. Carter Bryant still on the board. Cedric Howard still on the board. Derek Queen still on the board. Whew. Okay. Update here trade-wise. The Charlotte Hornets are trading center Mark Williams to Phoenix for the number 29th pick in tonight's draft and the 2029 first-round pick via Shams Charania, just barely. Ooh, so Wait, so they got Mark Williams and Maluach? Wait, what? So they just drafted Maluach and then they're going to get themselves the 29th pick in this year's draft? Okay, is Maluach on the move? Okay. We'll see. That's interesting. You know, I would have loved Maluach on this roster. Him and Wemby in the front court would have been legitimately insane. And I mean, maybe we still get him. Maybe we still get him. We trade the 14th pick and a player for him. But because Mark Williams going to the Suns, so now they have Nick Richards, Maluach, and Mark Williams. 3 guys who kind of do the same thing. Well, not exactly the same thing, but 3 bigs that aren't really shooters. Okay. If they want to. If they want to. Being delusional about your dreams is a crazy comment. It's a crazy way to phrase that, but I love it. Shout out to Maluach. I really hope we get him. There's definitely a way we can still trade for him and get him. So, like, that's still on the board. That's absolutely still on the board. I would like Walter Clayton too in the right situation, and honestly, I don't think we have too many guards for him to be on the roster, just because I think he would play 15 minutes a game. But I don't obviously think we're not gonna take about 14. We don't have another pick. We'd have to trade back to do so. So like that would have to be the way to go about that. But yeah. He might hate playing in Phoenix. I mean, he might like it, but like I don't know. They have so many bigs now. Like they just have their bigs galore. They literally just traded for Mark Williams, and that pick dropped right as they picked Maluach. So it's kind of crazy when we think about it. Man. Shout out to him, man. It's the most prestigious league in the world, and he's a top 10 pick in the draft. You'll never be able to take that away, even if he is a bust. Texas is going to be a dogfight. There's a lot of good teams. I mean, between the Mavericks, Rockets, and obviously Spurs, golly, Texas is going to be a dogfight. Those are 3 teams that are going to be nasty. 3 teams that are going to be nasty. Okay. So Memphis is taking the 11th pick? Wow. So this next player is going to Memphis. So I could see this being Carter Bryant actually going to Memphis with them getting another wing, kind of trying to replace a little bit what Desmond Bane did. West is absolutely nasty. What do you mean 4 out of the 5 picks? Do you mean like in the trade they get 4 out of the 5 picks of the trade, or like what do you mean exactly? You gotta be kidding me. Golly. That is a... Golly. Oh, Duke and Rutgers had 4 out of the first 5 picks tonight. How many times has that happened? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I know it definitely has happened because, like, I know, like, Boogie Cousins and... John Wall coming from the same spot. So maybe like those kind of things happen, but man. Too many big picks as in like the trades or like just in this year's draft, a lot of it's been Western Conference teams picking players. And the Western Conference has is because a lot of trades have been made. Truly, a lot of trades have been made over the past. I mean, a lot of players went east-west. Do we want Carter Bryant? Yeah. I wanted him. I wanted Cedric Howard. This is a 3-and-D guy who can shoot. He is athletic. He can, but yeah, if we can get Carter Bryant, we can get Carter Bryant because you have to think now. This pick's going to Memphis, so there's Chicago at 12, Atlanta at 13. Atlanta could more so. I mean, they just drafted Kristaps Porzingis, so aren't drafted. Just drafted Keenan. Are you sure they just drafted him like he's a rookie in the league? They just traded for Kristaps Porzingis. So it's going to be interesting to see what route they want to go. If they want to go with more of a guy who could score, they could even get Nick Clifford if they want to do that. If they want to go like a Rasheer Fleming route, or if they want to go Asa Newell was where I thought they were going to go, but right before Porzingis. Right before you get Porzingis, you might not go Newell. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Joan would be nice. I would like that. You get another Frenchman alongside of Wemby. You get a guy who can block people off the glass, a guy who can run in transition, an athletic guy who could definitely ascend on this roster. Him, Noah, Senge, Carter, Bryant would be the 3 guys I target here. It depends on what these next 2 picks look like. But those are the 3 guys that I truly target here. The Knicks, also to address that comment, the Knicks don't know what the heck they're doing. Like, the Knicks are now in a position where they easily should be one of the 2 favorites in the East, and they already are. But they might find a way to just ruin that. Like, they might just find a way by not getting a coach or not getting something or not getting whatever the case may be. They might find a way to just say, hey, we can't do this anymore. Like, let's figure this out. Like, goodness gracious. They might go overseas with with the 14th pick. I think it makes sense. I mean, there's multiple people from France, and not that Wemby is the end-all, be-all for your organizational choices, because we know how great the Spurs have been with their organizational choices. But at the same time, I mean, Wemby does matter. So, like, you might go overseas and get one of those guys that he's seen. So, Isaac, no, Khan left off the board. He was the 4th pick in this year's draft. He's going to Charlotte. I mean, I hope you a long, happy, healthy life. So I hope that's for not for a long period of time, but then it'll be a while before we get a Knicks championship. I don't know if we're gonna get a Knicks championship or a Cowboys championship first, but whenever that is, the sports world will die either way. Either way, the sports world will die. Golly. Now that it's getting to that point, who are we wanting right now with the Spurs? I know I've seen some Joan. I've seen some Biggs. I've seen maybe a little Carter Bryant. Is there anything specific that you guys are wanting right now that like these things are kind of going? They might get one before them. But at the same time, you never know. You never know how things are going to go. So, golly. Wait, so I think also Memphis. You want Derek Queen? I wouldn't mind Derek Queen either. So, Portland gets the 16th pick in this year, and they get some 20. So that means Portland wasn't too happy with the picks, or they felt like they could get the same kind of value. Who could be there for 50 at the Knicks that would actually kind of try to make a difference? So the Knicks, now that we're talking about this randomly, so the Knicks are in a position where they obviously have just about a little bit of everything, and if the Knicks are able to win and do something good, they're going to need to get a guy who has played some basketball, a rotation piece, who's probably got some years under his belt. At that point, I truly don't know who you're going to get. I don't think you're going to get anybody of like consequence, because you're not going to need a guard like Caleb Love, who could be definitely interesting for them. Honestly, if I were the Knicks, you could take someone like Grant Nelson. Like Grant Nelson, senior guy who played at Alabama, 6'11", is going to work hard, can stretch the floor, is going to play good defense, he can switch. So a guy like Grant Nelson at 50 would be someone who I would target if I was the Knicks, maybe them. So, I mean, not that that's going to be the end of the world kind of thing, but that would be the guy that I would probably target. Someone like a Grant Nelson, because you're looking for a win now kind of rather than a later. But for LeBron. Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, it was like 2016 Braun, sure. I know, obviously, you're joking. But 2016 Braun, sure. Give me all of that and then some, but no. Nelson might be gone, might not be gone, to be quite honest with you. But, yeah. Asenge is kind of a skinny Sochan, but he does have a little bit more bounce and a little more athleticism to his defensive game than Sochan does. But, like, you're right. He is kind of a skinny Sochan, but the thing with Sochan is after next year, we're going to have to pay him. And that's going to be the interesting thing is, like, if we're not trading for anybody and he wants to take them, depending on the money he takes, we could re-sign Sochan, or we might have to let him go depending on what we're going to do. Save Bronny. I like that comment. Ooh, Noah Senge or Essenge. Shout out to the Bulls. There you go. Noah Senge. That guy is not happy about taking Noah Senge. He's not familiar with the guy's game. He can play. I hope people don't hate on that pick. He can actually play. I like that for Chicago. They need some bigs. They need a guy who is going to come in there and kind of change the fortune of how they do things. I actually like that for Chicago. They're also going to have to move off of Vucevic at some point here. Ooh, the Pelicans traded up to 13. Ooh, the Pelicans traded up to 13? What did they do? What did they do? I'm interested to see what the Pelicans do. I don't know who they take it. I just got an update that the Pelicans are on the clock after a deal with the Hawks. Shams just reported. Oh my goodness gracious. You know, this guy is Noah Senge. I would have loved to have him. He can just. They might be taking Queen, but if they're taking Queen, that means Carter Bryant is falling. And we could absolutely take Carter Bryant. I think that we're going to take a while with that because I do think that the Spurs could possibly listen to some trades for it. Golly. That's going to be the most favorable out of New Orleans. 2026. We get our backup center by going into free agency. I know that a lot of free agents have been signed, but we get our backup big by going into free agency. Or we trade back into the trade or into the draft. But I think, yeah. Not gonna lie, as interesting as Ace Bailey would be and as cool, I wouldn't want Ace. I just think he's too immature for what we want. I do like him, though. I think that that's an interesting thought, like trading the 14 in the future pick for something and getting a guy, but I just don't think Ace would be the guy for it. I think that Demon is going to be an interesting pick. The way he can create, I think that he's going to be good. And defensively, he's a guy who is pretty long and decently athletic. He can slide his feet okay, but he does have long arms that can help him defensively, so he won't be like a cone defensively. I do think that's an interesting pick for them. And if he can develop a jump shot, I think he could be a real player in the league. And when I say a real player, I don't mean like a multi-time all-star. I just mean like, okay, he can play. Like he can actually go out there and really put minutes out there, and you'll feel nice about it. Yeah, I don't love Bailey's attitude for the culture. Trey Murphy, oh boy, I would love to get Trey Murphy or Herb Jones. One of those two guys, those 6'10" athletic guys with bounce. Murphy obviously is better than Jones, but I would love to get myself Trey Murphy or Herb Jones. I do wish we would have gotten Malawatch. I really do wish we would have gotten Malawatch. That would have been nice. Sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely.
As we continue to welcome the next generation of players into the league tonight, we also celebrate the accomplishments of the legends who came before them.
Shout out.
Chuck, Kevin, Sochan. Your fathers hold a special place in the creation of the modern NBA. They were courageous. They showed
Yeah.
they represent a through line.
Murray Boyles is... I just really thought they were going Malawatch, but I really like Murray Boyles in today's NBA. I think the way that he can move defensively, the versatility that you have is something that you're going to need, because to play on guys, to switch from guys like Jason Tatum to having to switch onto a guy like Derek White. Those are just two different styles of covers, and being able to cover both of them, I think that makes it a very interesting pick for them. Toronto's tough because like they just have like scattered talent, like Scotty Barnes as a talent, like Grady Dick, like so they just have like scattered talent. They don't always feel like a direction. I will answer who I'm drafting at 14 once I see pick 13, just to make sure he doesn't get traded. But once I see the 14th pick, like see the name for it, yeah, definitely. Steven Adams just signed like a 3-year, $39 million deal to stay in Houston. So he's going to be a Houston Rocket here for the next couple of years, probably until he retires, honestly. So he would have been a nice pick. I would have really liked Steven Adams, though he can't shoot. He can really defend and play defense at a high level, and he's a smart veteran. But yeah, the Rockets kept him. Yeah, the duo does matter. I mean, if you do have someone along the lines like, obviously a completely different sport, but Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, like you get those kind of duos, those will really work well. But at the same time, Ace Bailey would have been hard because you would have to trade Castle to get Ace Bailey. And I know that sounds stupid, but like, it just wouldn't make sense. Ooh, Derek Queen's going 13. Wow. So you've got Derek Queen going 13. So the Spurs, listen, I'm listening to trade offers for the next couple minutes. Someone might want Carter Bryant, but if not, I'm taking Carter Bryant. I really am. Oh, Daryl, I'm sorry about that. Is anyone else having problems with the audio, or is it just Daryl at the moment right now? No audio issues. I'm good. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we're good. And you said what's the worst pick between the Nets and the Pelicans? So you mean between Demon and I think the Pelicans took Fears? If I remember correctly, they took Jeremiah Fears. I think that Fears is probably the better ready player. I know obviously like he got taken one before. I think Fears is probably the little better ready player right now just because of the athleticism that he has, and he has a little bit better of a shot creator. But I do think Demon's going to be nice. I think that he has the ability to be nice, but I probably would lean Fears. I think that would have been the pick to have. But yeah, no, at 14 right now, I think Carter Bryant is going to be the pick. And then we get a 6'8" guy who's a 3-and-D player who can go in there and then make those kind of decisions. I think Carter Bryant might be the guy. And I would take Carter Bryant because as I do think we need a big, and we could take Joan or we could take somebody else like that, I do think that we could trade down to get that. So if we're going to take them, either trade back up into the first round, maybe take one of the Nets picks, or trade down to go get him. I don't think we need to take him here. So I think we go Carter Bryant. I really do. I'm excited to see where we go. It's finally the Spurs are back on the clock. The lottery is going to be ending. After this lottery, I'll probably take a few more questions, and then maybe we'll see where we go from there. But I'm excited. Yeah, Trey Johnson, I'm a huge fan of. I think that Trey Johnson's going to be a real bucket in the league, and I think that he was in a bad situation last year in Texas and kind of how Texas was operated. It got him to a lot of bad and unfortunate situations shots-wise. I think in Washington, it could be interesting. I think they just I believe, if I remember correctly, I saw that they traded Jordan Poole, and they got now the C.J. McCollum and a couple others. They got Alex Sarr. So they've got some kind of depth and kind of thing there. So we'll see what goes on. We'll see what goes on there for Trey Johnson. I do, in the right situation, and if he gets the right kind of help around him, I do think that he could be a quality player for a long period of time in this draft. Edgecombe is going to be Edgecombe has the most upside, I think, out of like these players when it comes to like them reaching a higher potential than what they were drafted as. Because VJ, he is a guy who you draft off the if he can just put together the skill portion of what the athleticism has, it could be scary. I like VJ a lot. Let's go here for a spur of a moment. Actually, also, by the way, take a spur of the moment, get every Spurs moment by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss all the great content we got. Carter Bryant, let's go. Let's go. I don't love the no shirt. I don't love the no shirt underneath. Not going to lie to you. But Carter Bryant, let's go. I did not think he was going to go there. I thought he was going to go 10. I didn't think we were going to have a chance at him. I personally, my number 1 would have been Cedric Coward, but my number 2 is Carter Bryant. I love that. You get now a 6'8" long athlete to go out there and play defense. He gets to come off of the bench playing alongside Wemby, playing alongside Dylan Harper, alongside De'Aaron Fox, alongside Stephon Castle. Mentally think of the defensive lineup when you can run out De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant, Jeremy Sochan, and Victor Wembanyama. That team's just going to lock people down. This guy can shoot, too. He is a one-on-one defender, but he gets guys who can play in space. I love this. That guy he just shook hands with, Andre Iguodala, that's the guy he should be looking to comp. Better shooting Andre Iguodala, but the way Iggy could play defense, use that athleticism, sit down in the chair, be a guy like that's the guy that he should look after and try to be. I love all of that. He is perfect for today's NBA, and we perfectly for him. He's 6'8", and now at that point it was, okay, all the big depth that we needed is gone. Now we just need to go into get ourselves a guy who is the best talent right now left in the draft, and that's what we did. That is what we did. And the thing about it is, we just they were just talking about like he wasn't expected to score, but when he hit an open shot, he did. That's all you need him to do in this roster. You want him to be able to develop into to be a guy that can come off of like down screens and be able to make the right move, or right play off of down screens. If people jump out at him, dishing it down for the big, hitting rollers in space, hitting rollers on time and on target. But the thing about him is he is a true connective player, and you want him to be a connecting player on this roster. And so if you get you got a true connector to go alongside the alien, everything, that is what I love it. When you're together with this, you got that's an A. I love that pick. I did not think we'd have Carter Bryant as an option, but I love that pick because he can shoot, he can defend, he's athletic. Like, that is the guy you want to take. And I know some people might not love it. I hope they do, but I love it. Love it. Okay, yes, back to how far do I think the Spurs can go this season? I have them at that same kind of spot, around the 48 and 34 range. Second round of the playoffs. We'll see how interesting Wemby can make things. That's where I got it right now. And here's the thing. We still have more moves to make. We still have people to go get. So we need to go get now a big in free agency. That's the thought, and that's the need, that's the hope. We need a big in free agency. But once we get that big in free agency, we're going to be A-okay. And that's the main focus now. That's the main focus. We're gonna need to probably just get a solid guard just for there. If we can try to get Chris Paul to come back, cool. But we just need a big. But I love Carter Bryant. I love it. I love it. For the Spurs, this is phenomenal. And the reason why now is too, and also I said we need to go get a big in free agency. I'm actually interested in you guys for this. What would you guys do with Devin Vassell? Are we trading him? Like, do you think he needs to go? Because I'm in the position now that, all right, you've got Carter Bryant, you've got obviously Carter Bryant, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, all those people off the bench. I think you've got to get rid of Devin Vassell, and I would honestly like to get rid of Keldon Johnson. I think those two players are talented and quality players. I just also think that at the moment, those are two players that are not necessities for us. I don't like this better than taking Castle, going through some of these. I don't like this better than taking Castle. Castle was just, to me, I love the way he played. But I do like this. Trade up for Maxine. I think that's something we could do. Around 25 would be trading with Orlando. We'd probably trade with Brooklyn because they have the 26th and 27th pick in the draft, so we'd probably trade up with Brooklyn for something, maybe for a future asset, and get someone like Maxine. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't. I think that's another guy that you could get. Depending on if all Danny Wolf falls, you could trade up for him too. This draft, I'm loving it. I appreciate that for sure, the subscribe and you following us and us being your favorite. I hope you guys very much enjoy the San Antonio Spurs content that we do, because we obviously do it because we're just San Antonio Spurs fans, as you guys are as well. That's what we want to be here for. That's what we want to do. So everything that we get to do and the fact that we get to do these lives and experience this draft together, this is all made because of you guys. Obviously, we put the content in and we put the time in for that, but it wouldn't go anywhere if it wasn't for you guys. So we appreciate that very much so from you, Alex, and Melanie. And I appreciate it from all of you guys who have been here chilling with me for this draft, because it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I wasn't sure how my first stream was going to go or how our first stream on the channel was going to go, but I love it. I do love it. Golly. Yeah, no, once Queen went off the board, it was like, we don't even have to think about it. Yeah, let's just go get it. Let's go do our thing. Absolutely. I actually like that question, by the way, Isaac. If Harper pans out, how long until we deal Fox? Until Harper's contract. Because you have to think Harper's now going to be on a 4-year deal with like a 2-year team, or a 5-year deal with like a 2-year team option, so really like a 4-year deal essentially, and he's going to be eligible for an extension after 3 years. At that point, Fox will be into his extension multiple years. I think the way they're going to structure that deal is they're going to try to structure it in a way to where they can get off of that deal within the last 2 years. Not that Fox is terrible or anything, we're not even thinking about that at this moment in time, but if Harper pans out, Harper is going to just be the younger guy who is incredibly talented. So, where did they go? Ooh, okay. The Thunder go with Thomas Sorber. It's good for him. A shout out to Thomas Sorber. He gets to be in a position now where he gets to go compete for a championship year one. Shout out to Thomas Sorber. He's actually going to play some minutes there too, I think, if not develop into a guy who can play some minutes. Which is interesting, too, because possibly might see what happens with Chet coming up here. But we did give the 38 to Indiana for a second round in the next coming years and some cash So we did do that. But who is the better prospect to you guys, Castle or Harper? I'm now interested. Like, the rest of this draft, we don't have to fully worry about until, like, a big trade happens. So we're going to have a little bit of conversation here before we head out for the fun rest of the draft. You guys can enjoy it. But would we rather trade Carter and package for someone else and keep our picks? I think we'd rather just keep Carter Bryant, to be quite honest with you. I think that trading Devin Vassell is the way to go. We don't need him. He is a bucket getter. He's not going to elevate you on defense. He is not going to elevate you as a playmaker. He is a bucket getter. And we don't need a bucket getter anymore because we have De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle is going to develop into a bucket getter, and clearly we have Victor Wembanyama. So the thing about this players is we need fit and you need your right assets. And I just think that sometimes the talent gets lost within the assets. Like the Suns, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant in a vacuum are super talented guys, but as assets, those are three guys that do essentially the same kind of thing. They score at a high level, they can play make at a decent level, and they try on defense. I mean, they obviously do different things at different levels, but like that's three of the same guy. Like Drew Holiday would have fit in so much better than Bradley Beal, even though like peak Drew Holiday and peak Bradley Beal, if you want to take one-on-one for a player, peak Bradley Beal was averaging you 30 plus in a game in Washington. So like that's where it comes in. And that's where it makes it interesting, where like fit has to matter. And Devin Vassell is a bucket. He can easily get you 20 a game. And for the right team, he is the perfect person to get. He truly is the perfect person to get. But for our team right now, I no longer think that he is the perfect person. It's the same thing with Keldon Johnson. I think that he is just now no longer in the perfect situation. And it's because the last 2 years we've gotten Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. And Carter Bryant. Let me not forget Carter Bryant now. That's all I think. Honestly. The Thunder could have taken me. Truly, they could have. So I think the Pacers could have if Tyrese Halliburton wasn't injured, and I think when Tyrese Halliburton gets back, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think a little bit of it was luck, but I mean, they got the Cavs out of there in 5. They got the Bucks out of there in 5. They got the Knicks out of there in 6, and they played around in Game 5. So like, and they went 7 with the Thunder. They went a true 7 with the Thunder. So like, I don't think it's a fluke. I think you get a really good connective winner in Pascal Siakam. You get a guy in Aaron Nesmith who knows his role, can shoot and can defend. He was the guy who became a little bit lackluster in that tournament. You get a guy in the finals. Nemhard, you get a guy like that here who can actually play like a backup point guard role while on the floor at the same time with Tyrese Halliburton. You have Tyrese Halliburton who's a superstar level player. So I think what they did is replicable, and I think that the Pacers are in a good position. It's unfortunate that Tyrese Halliburton did rupture the Achilles because I do think that he could have honestly won the championship this year. He was 3 or 4 from 3 with 9 points already. I think it's replicable for them, especially being in the Eastern Conference too. I think they're going to be a force for the next few years. They're only 21th in cap spending, so they have some money. They truly have some money. Yeah, see, it's hard. It's going to be hard. It really depends on how good Tyrese Halliburton can be coming off of that Achilles injury. Like, Kevin Durant really didn't miss a step. And if he can be like what Kevin Durant was and not miss a step, then he'll be okay. If he can't be like Kevin Durant and it takes him a lot to transition himself, it'll be tough. But you have to think, too, if you're just going off the top of the head at that point, in 2 years, Giannis will be 2 years older. The Bucks really don't have assets moving forward. The Knicks are going to be in a position where they can't pay anybody. They're going to have to move off of people. Jason Tatum will also be coming off an Achilles at that time, too. Orlando, they'll be a very interesting team. Miami, what are they going to do? What kind of position are they in? So the Eastern Conference is still going to be a weak spot. Even in 2 years, it's going to have to be a big draft pick, AJ DeBonsa going somewhere and really taking flight, or someone from the Western Conference coming to the Eastern Conference. So, depends. Yeah. Yes. We have everything that we need for a championship level team we have on our roster now. Truly. So I was actually talking about this when I got a haircut today with a guy. Shout out to my barber, Doug. But I do think that the NBA should shorten the season. I've talked about this with my brother on our podcast that we do in the Warner Brothers podcast. If not, check it out. BROTHAS, Warner Brothers podcast. We talk a lot of different sports, NFL, NBA, music, and stuff there. But I've talked with Kyle about this for a while. 66 to 72 games for the NBA. Get rid of the play-in tournament. We don't need the play-in tournament. Make the first round 5 games instead of 7. Limit the amount of basketball that people have to be playing a year. I understand back in the day they did it, but back in the day they didn't have the athletes. They were a below the rim game with players who could go above the rim. Dominique Wilkins, Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan, blah blah blah. Elgin Baylor, if you're going back, Bill Russell could get up, and obviously there were players who were athletes for sure. But there's so much with the way that basketball is played, with how much space you have to guard, instead of guarding from 19, 20 and in, you have to guard 35 and in, you guard full court, and you have to put so much pressure on your knees and your ankles, your Achilles, and all that stuff. Yeah, I would just take it, and I would take it to 66 games, cut out the play-in tournament, cut the first round of 5, and make it a situation to where you can be like, okay, we're chilling here with this, and I think you'd get a better product and players that would play more. So I agree with that, with how many stars came down and everything. I think the Celtics would have done pretty much what they're doing now, because I do think they probably would have lost to the Knicks. And even if they won the championship, because they were going to be in the second apron, they've avoided over $200 million worth of stuff and penalties. Because if you're a second apron team multiple times, those taxpayer dues are just so heavy and just so heavy. So they would have traded off of these people anyway, I think, to be quite honest with you. So I think the Celtics would have done the same thing. We do need a backup center. We absolutely do need a backup center. And with this backup center that we're going to need, we have a ways to get it. We could trade for it with Keldon Johnson. We could trade for it with Devin Vassell, or we could not draft it. Sorry, because we could also sign it in free agency. We will get a backup big. Jan Hansen went this early? Oh my God, Lee! I did not think he was gonna go this early. Shout out to Jan Hansen. Shout out to him. I think Atlanta next year is going to be, as they stay healthy, I think they're going to be really good, to be quite honest with you, Brandon. I don't think we're going to land DeBonta, and it's because you've got Trae Young, you just got Porzingis. If he can stay healthy, obviously, there's the health thing is going to be big with Atlanta, because if he stays healthy, you're getting Jalen Johnson back too. I think all of that together, and especially with how the Eastern Conference is going to be next year, I think Atlanta really can make a push to be a top 4 seed and have a home playoff game for the first round of the playoffs. And that would just make it difficult for us to get that DeBonta pick, honestly. But Atlanta, and they'd have to really suck early, and then they'd have to blow it up. Because, you have Risa Shea there, too, as well. I think that Atlanta's actually going to be a really interesting team that you're going to have to keep your eye on in a very weak Eastern Conference. And last time we saw them in a weird Eastern Conference, they got to the conference finals behind Trae Young right after the bubble. It is less money for the NBA, but I also think you add more intrigue, and the more intrigue could also help NBA pockets. I truly think that doing something along those lines would be the best thing for it. And I get less games, but you have to think the October to December portion, if you're starting in December, you're competing with the NFL. So it's hard to get ratings and views anyways when you're competing with the NFL. That's just going to make it difficult. Yeah, trading back into the first is something I wouldn't mind either. I really would be looking to do business with the Nets. They have so many picks at this point in the back half of the draft. I would truly look to trade with them and see what you can do, because we could get, there's bigs late in this draft that we absolutely could get, and that would not just make sense, but actually be quality good picks in this draft. And now you have to worry about having to sign, but we'll see too. Because you could go Maxime, you can go Kalkbrenner, Danny Wolf. Obviously, Yang just got taken, but there are definitely people you can, or maybe they trade back even into the second round and do something along those lines. Interesting. The luck aspect of them getting the Celtics possibly could have beaten them, honestly. But I also think the way they went they went a legitimate 7 with the Thunder. I think that there's a real world that they could have beaten the Celtics, especially when you have to think last year too. They got swept by the Celtics, but every game was a super close game, and that was a lot without Tyrese Halliburton. And you had a team that was a better Nembhard, a better Nesmith, Pascal Siakam that stayed the same, coaching on the same level, kind of. So I think that they could have actually competed Pacers-wise with the Celtics last year or this year, and actually beat the Celtics this year. It would have been an interesting series. I mean, they just dispatched of the Cavaliers in 5 games, and we all thought the Cavaliers were going to give the Celtics a tough time. So interesting. A backup center that I feel would fit the Spurs initially in my head is Luke Cornett. That would be a guy who I think fits what the Spurs do as a smart player here in the league. Actually, out of interest, guys, actually, what did you guys think about Bismack Biyombo? Do you think getting Bismack Biyombo back would actually be good, or do you think he was just a fill-in guy that you wouldn't want back at all? I think it's actually interesting. Bismack would be interesting for the roster. How's it going, Daniel? Baranji? That's how you pronounce that? Oh my God. Baranji or Baranjay? Golly. No Bismack? Okay, fair enough. I had no idea. Baranjay. That makes way more sense than Baranji. Golly. But no Bismack? Okay. I was interested to see what you guys were, if you wanted Bismack at all, just because he obviously was with us last year. But I'm actually glad we didn't take Sorber. I wanted the wing. I felt the big we could fill in. When you have Wemby, you only need a big that's a backup. I think outside of that, I just think that the mold of how the NBA is, if you can get as many game-changing wings as possible, and you work from there. So you obviously don't want all of them to do the same exact thing, which is why having Harper, Vassell, Fox, and Castle's a little much. But you do want to have, okay, Castle comes off, and then you can put Carter Bryant in there. We saw with the Thunder this year when Case and Wallace came into games, you're like, okay, 16 to 18 minutes, Case, and just dog walk this guy around the court. Literally follow him. Just don't let him go. And you're like, okay, Alex Caruso obviously did more than just that, but you saw that a lot there. So that's what I really liked to see and that's what I want. I feel like the Spurs can do that. They build around defense. They have enough of offensive pieces that can actually play. Yabusele would be sick. I did a video on that the other day. I think Yabusele would be sick. He would be a perfect. That's the type of guy that'd be perfect. Because it's not about just specifically the height, but Yabusele would be sick. Clint Capella, I like. Miles Turner's not going anywhere. They're gonna clean up Miles Turner, and they're gonna keep him there. I would love Miles Turner though. He would be perfect. But I also don't think financially we'd be able to really hold that there. But Miles Turner would be insane. I would love to have Miles Turner on this roster. Honestly, if he's available, I would love to get Al Horford for a year. I think that Al Horford, just a veteran, you can get him on a mid-level, veteran big, come in there, won a championship, knows how to play, he can switch, can guard, but yeah. Draft rating for us, A. And I don't think that's me being a homer or like oh, you're just a Spurs fan. Like, no, I think an A. So you got clearly the second best player in the draft. By far, you didn't overthink. Not that the Spurs were going to, but like we know how teams can get. They overthink themselves. They're trying to zang when teams are zang. Like, you get the second best player in the draft. You're smart, and then at 14, you get the best player on the board, and you get a guy who can instantly come in and be a contributor for the roster. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I think that we got an A for this. Call it an A+, I'm fine with that. Call it an A+, I'm fine with that. I think we did very well. I think that Fat Flag's going to hold the pressure and be okay with it. I think he's going to do just fine. I truly do. I think that Cooper Flag is going to be a guy who comes in there and just is the consummate professional, consummate pro. We saw him in the NBA scrimmages, and with those NBA scrimmages, he came in and he bullied people. He was bodying people. He was not afraid of people. He was going in there and doing his thing. So I think that Cooper Flag's going to come in, take those expectations, and be okay. That's the LeBron. That's the thing, though, with Cooper Flag, LeBron comparisons, I think, are insane. I think there's one prospect in the history of my life that could remotely get LeBron comparisons, and I'm okay, and it's this guy. That's literally the only one. Flag is not Wemby. He's not the prospect that Wemby is. I'm sorry. Flag should be a multi-time All-NBA kind of guy. He should be maybe win an MVP. But, like, when you think of Cooper Flag, and it'll be easier to do after year one, but, like, the overbearing things for, like, your super-duper stars in the league, the championships you think they can win. 2.5. Wemby's championships is set at, like, 2.5. As a Spurs fan, you guys would be able to answer this for sure. If we only won 1 or maybe 2 championships in the entire tenure of Wemby, that would feel like a disappointment. It would to me. I don't know if it would to you guys, but it would to me. When it comes to Wemby, if 3 or more, you're like, okay, yeah, he did exactly what he needed to do. He did exactly what we needed to do at this roster. But someone like Flag, 1.5. If he hit 1.5 over under, I'm probably taking the over, but maybe 1 to 2 championships for Flag, maybe an MVP, All-NBA guy. That's a great career for him. For Wemby, multi-time champion, multi-time MVP, multi-time Defensive Player of the Year, literally top 15 level guy all time is where you think of him. You don't think Cooper Flag top 15. So that's why I don't love the LeBron. I don't love the LeBron. But, yeah, I think the projections are a little bit too high. I do think that we're going to just make it past the play, and I think we're a 4 seed, 5 seed. I really do. Mentor Wemby, that's where I think you could get to the Al Horfords. You could get to, depending on the contract, the Brooke Lopez. But I would say Al Horford would be the guy that I would try to do. If you want to mentor Wemby, Al Horford would be that guy. Absolutely. It would be the first Duke guy to be a superstar. That's kind of crazy. I mean, they had Grant Hill, obviously, but the injuries there kind of hurt him. Christian Laettner, we obviously know one of the greatest Duke players, or one of the greatest college players to ever play, didn't really pan out in the NBA as such. Zion couldn't really pan out for it. Like, he could be like, it's actually kind of a real weird thing to be. Ooh. Ooh, Utah is trading up to here? Utah Jazz are trading up. Shout out to the Utah Jazz. Golly. So they wanted a shooter. We'll see if they take Walter Clayton. I think Vassell and Johnson kind of got to, like, one of the two's got to go, and it'd be Vassell for me. Because I think Keldon Johnson's kind of a different level or style of scorer. But I would honestly trade them both. They just don't need them. They just don't. They don't work in that realm. They just don't work with how things are. Yeah, we got rid of the 38th pick. Flag's not. I don't think Flag's gonna be Laettner. I think it'd be difficult for Flag to be Laettner. I think he's too good. She's a bad man pajama. That Ron Harper stealing. Ace really did look unhappy. Like, and he doesn't want to be there. So we're going to see it, but like he really didn't want to be there. I think Branham is solid. I think that he is a solid guard, and I think that he is a good player in the league. I just don't think that he is what we need, and I feel like for his success, being on a Words team where he can actually showcase his talent would probably be the best thing for him. Right now, we are now in a position where every year's winning expectations. It's no longer in the position of, okay, we're just trying to develop. We want to develop. Of course, Wemby is not close to his ceiling yet. Fox is right about his ceiling. He can get a little better. Castle's not at his ceiling yet. Sochan's not at his ceiling yet. But these guys' floors where they are right now is so good that we're already in winning time. So there's no need for anything else other than we're just right now in winning time. So I think Branham, Blake Wesley, those kind of guys, as they are talented players, I think you want to get the Tyus Jones. You want to get the veteran kind of style guards. That's what you would think. Walter Clayton. Shout out to Walter Clayton, man. Shout out to Walter Clayton, man. He deserves that. He deserves that. He deserves all of that. Yes, we're trying to develop while winning. We are trying to develop while winning. I think Bobby Portis, if we have the money for it and we're able to get contractually that, I think he's perfect. I think he's absolutely perfect. Bobby Portis, Naz Reid, Al Horford. That style of big, 6'9" to 6'11", 7-footers, long, athletic, can play defense, but also offensively can stretch the floor, smart guys who know how to play within a system. That's the big we need. Sochan we can trade. I think that's interesting. I think Sochan I wouldn't want to trade until the All-Star break, actually. The way he's been shooting, or why it's been looking like he's been shooting in the offseason, obviously everything can be dressed up in the offseason, but the way he's been shooting in the offseason, I truly think that if Jeremy Sochan can do that, he could be really good. And I think that he could up his trade stock, because I think he's also at a point, too, where if we might not sign him. We might not be able to sign him because he might be too much money for us. But how trading the 38th pick is good. We get more. We are trading the 38th pick because next year we also get more picks, and we're building up second-round picks. You just saw in the Phoenix deal, they got 5 second-round picks. We have the ability to kind of do that kind of thing, and that will add up the amount of picks that we have moving forward. That's 1, and 2, we do get cash, so we get like a little bit more money. I don't know how much cash we are getting or we're able to get, but basically trading out of that, the Pacers now can go get a guy who can play this year, kind of who can develop, and we can get more money, more space to go make some more moves in free agency for us this year. Yes, so the thing about this year for the San Antonio Spurs that I really love and feel that is almost missed is everything is not going to be chaotic this year. It's a figuring out year because we're figuring out, okay, who's this, who is that, where can do with what, but we have a whole off season with a whole infrastructure that is a consistent infrastructure. For the last couple years, is a lot of inconsistency for the Spurs, which we're not used to. And it's not in the fact that, like, oh, we're a bad organization or we're going down. It's more so inconsistencies in the fact of, like, oh, okay, we used to be super buttoned up at coach, And now, obviously, the stroke happens with Gregg Popovich, and that kind of changes. It's, we were 50 wins every year, and then we went bad, and kept going a little bit worse and worse, and then we got Wemby, and then we get new piece. And so now you're going to have an off season where you actually get a whole group of guys together who can play together. All of them shouldn't be really working off of injuries. Obviously, we know what Wemby is, but De'Aaron Fox is 100% fine now. But, Wemby is not the guy you really base off, and everyone can play with him, and he should be able to even get into drills at that point. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, this whole team can build some camaraderie and actually build a togetherness. And that's what the Spurs are known for, playing with camaraderie, togetherness, and being very, very talented. So I'm excited to see what the Spurs do this year. I truly think they could be a top 4 team. I think you're going to see the Rockets doing very well with Kevin Durant. You're going to obviously see the Thunder up there. You're going to see the Timberwolves up there. I think we can be right there at the number 4. I think we could be right there at the number 4, competing with them in Denver and us in Denver. And then we'll see what the Lakers are. 4 is definitely there. I think the lowest we get to is 7. I truly think that we can get to 7, get out even the play-in, but yeah. Yeah, Julian Champagnie is a guy who I thought was very interesting. I thought he was weird this year because he'd go on streaks where it was like, Julian Champagnie for the last 3 weeks has been shooting 46% from 3 and actually making 2 a game, and you're like, okay, this is what we expect from you. And then he would go on these stretches where it was like, he's making 20% of his threes and he's not taking too many, and he was kind of playing himself out of rotation. Champagnie is one of those guys where if he has to be your 6th man off the bench, you're like, ugh. Which he had to be towards the end of the season. But if he is your 9th guy, you're like, okay, I can deal with that. He can be a 9th or 10th guy. I don't love him as a 6, but I love him as a 9 or 10. I have 48 and 34 is where I have us as well. And I think we would have been around 42 and 40 and 40. I think we would have been around a 500 team this year and probably made the 8th seed if we are fully healthy. You guys watched all the games. There were so many games late in games, especially even towards that December range. You have to think there was the game against the Nuggets that we blew. I think it was an overtime game. There was the Christmas Day game where Wemby went nuts and we lost. There were multiple games at Timberwolves. We had a close game and we lost during that stretch. There was multiple times during the year that we had just had close game and we lost and we lost. And it's good because we had multiple players in those positions and we're learning how to get through those positions. And that's just going to help us win towards the beginning. And then we'll just continue to kind of do that thing when we get to the playoffs, which is why getting to the playoffs is the number 1 goal this year. Number 1 goal is we got to get to the playoffs and continue to go. Shout out to Nolan Traore. I appreciate that everyone liked this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let me know if you guys have enjoyed this because we're wanting to go live more so. And if you guys would be down to doing a getting together once a week and we having a couple topics coming into it and getting live once a week, we'll definitely look into doing that here very soon. So I would love to do that, but I'd only love to do that if you guys want to do that. So let me know, and that will be something that we could try to set up. Our opening night starting 5, I do think it's Harper, Fox, Harper, Castle, Sochan, Wemby, or Harrison Barnes. I don't know if Harrison Barnes or Sochan. They might start Harrison Barnes opening to see how Sochan comes off the bench and then have Sochan as that defensive anchor off the bench, have him be your 6th man. But probably Barnes or Sochan, but that would be your starting 5 roughly in some way, shape, or form. Bring Duncan out of retirement. Hey, listen, the fact that Duncan still's got his hands on the organization and still kind of there. I mean, he's going to help. We're talking about mentors for Wemby. Tim Duncan's still helping out. That's a mentor for Wemby. That's really all you got to need. So That's another reason why I would have loved Durant there, because Wemby likes to play that kind of style, but the one thing that Durant does is he doesn't force threes like Wemby has been over the last couple years, and so I think that it would have been interesting to have Durant there too. Thank you, I appreciate it. I try to make everything as easy, and obviously I don't know everything basketball-wise, sports-wise, and all that. I try to know what I can, but there are certain things that are super confusing out there that, like, if they just explained it differently, it'd be a little easier. But I like it. I like to try to do everything I can to try to make this as easy and enjoyable for you guys as it is, and I appreciate that you guys are more receptive to it. So, yeah. Is Sochan really him? We'll figure it out this year. I honestly couldn't tell you. I think that Jeremy Sochan is a very good player in this league, or he has the potential, rather, to be a very good player in this league. By very good, I mean a guy who knows his role, can go in there and play quality minutes and be a real genuine starter. So we'll see this year. He knows that it's a contract year for him, and regardless if he's playing with the Spurs or playing on a different team, teams are watching and teams are looking. And contract years bring out the best in people, because if they want to go make that money, make that, especially that first full paycheck, yeah, you got to play out. So we might not start Harper early. To be quite honest with you, we probably could go with more likely if we went with a Fox, Castle, Barnes, Sochan, Wemby, and had Dylan Harper come off the bench. I just would like to start Harper day one. I would really like to just say, hey guys, we're going to stop with all the thinking like he is one of the best players in the league. Or, bless him, in the league. He's going to be. But, like, he's one of the best players on our team already. We just invested a future in him. Like, let's go just do this already. That's what I'd like to do. I would love Chris Paul off the bench still. I would love Chris Paul on the bench still. So, I think a lot of the time, talking about the Yao Ming and Ace and the new round Yao Ming, I think that both of them would have been cool players to get, but I just think that when you get in today's NBA, I don't think that the three matters. I don't think the fact that he only averaged 6 points in college matters. I think it's just how the skill set and style matters a lot. College matters more than what some people will feel, but I do think that Carter Bryant was the right pick. I'm super excited about this Carter Bryant pick. 6'8", long arms, can play defense, can play offense. I think that, or can shoot. I think that he's going to be great for us. Keeping Devin's interesting. He could be. If you do keep Devin, I do actually think I would agree with not having Dylan Harper start, because you could really kind of have it as a platoon switch and have you start Castle and Fox, and then you have Vassell and Harper come off the bench, and then you have Barnes in the starting unit, and then you have Champagnie coming off the bench. You could really make it kind of a platoon swap and kind of there. And that's honestly what the Spurs could do. The Spurs could make it a platoon swap for the first portion of the season, because they have the ability to just... The Miami Heat were looking to make a trade. I was interested if Chams is on the screen. It was interesting to see if the Spurs were doing anything. But they have the ability to kind of platoon swap, and if they really want to trade somebody, the trade deadline's always an option. So it doesn't have to be instantaneous. Yeah, I agree too. I think the depth of OKC and Indy, I think those are like great. I think that's great to have that kind of depth. I just think that you want depth that makes sense. And I think that Devin and Keldon kind of are depth that no longer makes a lot of sense. I've talked about it here throughout, but I think it's just depth that doesn't make a lot of sense. I appreciate it, Josh. I really do. Sorry, Jelly Bean, Josh. I really appreciate that. I don't, as obviously I know sometimes how we talk about videos and whatever, like, I do like to just talk about basketball. Like, my thing is, for those who don't know, I did go to college for sports broadcasting. I graduated, from good old Full Sail University. I graduated actually in March of this year with a bachelor's in sportscasting. So like that's what I love to do, and I really just love to talk about basketball. I don't love the whole BS and having to do things. Obviously, you have to talk about stories and how they are, and kind of. Oh, Kasper Yakunas at 20 is a very nice pick for the Miami Heat. Sorry, that is a very sidetrack, but I do think that I like to just talk about how the basketball comes in and how it's actually played, and that's the fun portion of it. You don't want to always have to talk about the fluff about it and have to just spin the same thing, but like at the same time, you want to talk about how it goes, how the game is, and because we all love basketball here, so I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, definitely. Getting Yao Ming would have been nice. It would have really been nice to get the new age Yao Ming and Yang Henson. I hope he's dope. Honestly, I didn't think he was going to be into the second round pick, but apparently this draft stock climbed. I mean, if you're going to take him at 16, he's going to Portland. I believe he's going to Portland after that trade, which is interesting because they already got Donovan Clingan, so they've just got multiple bigs. There's certain teams I don't really know what they're doing. Like, they got multiple bigs, they got multiple guards. Like, we're going to figure out what Portland's going to do. They're going to be moving off some people. They'll figure it out. Yeah, we've been really happy with how the channel's gone so far. I mean, it started, I think I made the first video last year. I want to say it was August 2nd. And within a year, you guys have helped us get us up to almost 8,000 subs. We're hopeful to get, the goal is if we can get to 10,000 in a year, and if by August we can get to 10K, which is the push for it, I would love that to get to into the next season and be able to get all that good jazz going into the season. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year for the Spurs. It's going to be a great year. We've got the pieces now. We've got the pieces. And so I'm very glad and I'm very hopeful that we can do that. Who are spending... Needs an enforcer. Ooh, that's actually interesting. I think Jeremy Sochan has the ability to be that enforcer, but spending some of the draft capital on, a lot of it what we were talking about was keeping the picks here so far, and honestly trading out of and getting trading Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell for pieces. So you haven't really missed too much. That's really been the talk about it. Yeah. Oh, hey, shout out to you, August 7th, turning 21. Hopefully we're 10K there for that. Hopefully we can do these streams, and maybe at that point we can get you a nice little birthday there. So shout out to you for sure. True. Can't take him seriously as an enforcer. That's fair enough. Yeah. See, that's fair. Not shortening the season, I get it, but I would shorten it more so because people are working so hard. And it has nothing to do with the fact, like, I get that you're there for the grind, but a lot of people don't love the NBA season grind. That's why they miss games. If you can make things matter more, I think it's better for the league too. And getting off to a slow start would hurt more. Like, you have to think it is sometimes difficult to be like, to really care about May, June, July baseball. It's really hard when you're thinking about May, June, July baseball. But then you think to yourself, you're like August, September, you're like, oh, okay, we're getting really into baseball time now. You don't have to watch baseball all year, and you can still kind of pick it up and be like, oh, this player's doing good. This player's doing good. Let's tune in. So I think the 66 game aspect, I think sometimes it's really hard to tune into November basketball or early January basketball when you can tell the players don't fully care. The NFL's on, and you're like, okay, let's see what Mahomes and Josh Allen want to do this year. I think it could be tough, but if you have it 66 games, you don't give them time to really feel that way. You get a nice in-season tournament, you get another tournament kind of halfway through, and then you get the NBA playoffs. I could go on for this ever. About Mamu, I think Mamu, having him on the roster, I would just keep him. I don't think he's going to ever be anything that's going to really be like a true rotational piece. I mean, obviously you can develop into that, and maybe he develops and we see it, and he's like, oh my God, that's a really rotational piece. But I think he's one of those guys that during the drag of an 82-game season, he's going to be a guy that comes in for 8 to 10 games. He'll play more than 8 to 10 games, but like 8 games during the year, you'll remember like, oh, there was a significant Mamu stretch there where he hit 2 threes and got a couple plays, and like he actually helped change the complexion of a game. That's like his kind of portion to the team, helping spell some guys during injuries and things like that. But as like an actual rotation piece during the playoffs, I don't think he's that at all at this moment in time. He might be a random, what Thomas Bryant did for the Pacers at times, where he came in and hit like a couple big threes and big moments like that. But otherwise, I don't think he's really going to do a whole lot. We need our version about 1/4 the technicals. Yeah, no, we definitely need. We need to get like an enforcer type of guy. Maybe we'll see next year. I truly think that Jeremy Sochan could turn into semi an enforcer. I really do. I think like he has that kind of edge to him to where I think he can turn into the enforcer, and I don't think he minds playing the villain role. He even said it, I believe, in a tweet last year or like in a comment last year that like he doesn't mind being the villain. So if he can turn into that villainous kind of player, I'm good with it. I would like Jeremy Sochan in that role. I think he could be really good in that role. And then Naz Reid, we did talk about earlier. I think Naz Reid's one of my favorite players in this whole. Naz Reid's one of my favorite players in this whole thing. If we could get Naz Reid contractually and make that work, that'd be perfect. We don't have the 38th pick, but I think Drake Powell could probably go at the end of this first round. I think that he's a talented guy that a lot of teams could kind of get some value out of. He's one of those guys that the 6'7", 6'8" long wings that can shoot and play high level defense, or has the ability to possibly play high level defense. The 3-and-D wings. That's what you want to draft in today's NBA. That's what you want to draft in today's NBA. Yes, we traded the 38th pick to the Indiana Pacers. We got the second-round pick next year and some cash. How much cash, I don't know, but we got some cash. Nas would be the top of my list right now, as long as it made sense for financials. Yabusele for the price would be also close to the top of my list, but if you just said, hey, blindly you can have any player and we can make it work financially, who would you want? It would be Naz Reid. Naz Reid, Bobby Portis, Al Horford, Yabusele, maybe in that order. If we could trade for Bam. Oof. Oh, I thought Will Riley was going to fall down to... I thought he was going to fall down to the Thunder at 24, but I think the Thunder at 24 are going to get Noah Penda. I also think that that's another guy they can get. But I like Will Riley. Again, another 6'8", long, athletic kind of guy. But I would love to get Bam. I think Bam would be phenomenal to get. Oh, absolutely. Bam is better than Jeremy. He's much better than Jeremy. If you could trade a first, Jeremy, Devin Vassell, and go get yourself Bam Adebayo. I did this mock trade the other day. Actually, I would absolutely love to get Bam. But I don't think Bam is for sale, but I also don't think Bam is not for sale. If that makes sense. Like, I don't think they they hang up the phone when you mention Bam Adebayo's name, but I think you have to really intrigue them if they want to actually have a conversation about Bam. Do I think Indiana goes after Lonzo? I don't. I'm not going to lie to you. Lonzo's the type of guy that a lot of teams should want. I love Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo's great. I think Lonzo is great. The thing that sucks with Lonzo is obviously his injury history has been extensive, but like he's turned himself into a lethal three-point shooter, especially catch and shoot open. He can play defense on one of your best guards. He's going to instantly move the ball and pass But Lonzo would be perfect for that Indiana team because he is a run and gun guy. He is a defensive guy. He can shoot. He's perfect for that team. That's actually a good point. I would maybe try to go get Lonzo. That would be a good trade. Be a really good trade. See, Minnesota and matching them, yeah, but like I just also don't know because like Minnesota's in this part right now where Randall's going to opt in for $30 million. Plus, they also are paying Anthony Edwards and Naz Reid. Naz Reid's going to want more money, and it's going to be difficult to kind of have that be the thing. And because you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, too, who they're going to maybe look to re-sign as well. They're going to lose somebody, and it might be Naz Reid just because of the money that he is going to attract. Listen, if Fleming manages to fall to the 27th, 28th pick, I could see the Spurs possibly trading up for him and going to get it, maybe. What about a trade with us and the Celtics? I think the only person that we would trade with the Celtics right now would be Sam Hauser. I don't think Derek White's on the move. I don't think Jaylen Brown's on the move. I would love to get Sam Hauser because we were talking about Julian Champagnie earlier. I think you just get a better Julian Champagnie at Sam Hauser. I think that you would maybe trade like Julian Champagnie for Sam Hauser kind of thing because I think Sam's due like $10 million and Julian's due like 5 or 6. I could be wrong contractually. But like I think Julian's do less, so I think you could manage to find a trip play with there. But can Dylan overcome the pre-scripted ESPN narrative to win the 3rd Rookie of the Year in a row? So, no. And it's not because I think of a pre-scripted narrative. I just think it's the situation that he's going to be in. Like last year, Stephon Castle felt himself in a position where he was able to kind of have the team for the last bit of the year. Like obviously Chris Paul was there, but De'Aaron Fox was out, Wemby was out. So you had him in a situation where he could really just be the number one on the team and kind of just like it was his kind of team to play around with and figure out how to play in the NBA. And you've got that now with Flag in Dallas. Obviously Anthony Davis is there, but we know Anthony Davis' aggressiveness offensively isn't like huge. So when you have that situation there and you don't have any Kyrie Irving playing for a while, I think Cooper Flag's going to be able to just go out there and kind of dominate games. And Dylan Harper would have to be a 110% to Cooper 100% to win. Like he would have to absolutely outplay him. It couldn't be like tie goes to Cooper. So I think you'd have to absolutely outplay him for that to be the case. Riley, Minix, and Blake Wesley for Giannis. Yeah, if you could do that, absolutely. Oh, we easily could get back into the draft. We have so many seconds and we have picks that we can give up. And we have players that we can move off of. We could easily get back into the draft if we wanted to get back into the draft, but I don't think that we're probably going to be doing such a thing. Cornette will be interesting because they're gonna have to re-sign him first, and then maybe I don't love Jaylen Brown. Like, let me know if you guys would love Jaylen Brown. I don't love Jaylen Brown. That's a $54 million man that's gonna be getting even more monies to be very good. Like he's a top 20 player in this game, and I love that. But I just think that caps the hamstrings us so much for the future. I think that just hamstrings us so much for the future. I don't think we need it. I'm expecting CP3 probably to go to Dallas just because I think he's going to be in a position where he could start initially and then come off the bench for Kyrie. I would love to keep Chris Paul. I just don't think he's signing up for 20 minutes a game, definitely coming off of the bench. And like being a primary ball handler, but again, also being the 5th most important guard on our roster if we don't get rid of Devin Vassell. Yeah. getting Dalton Connect or Zach Edey last year would have been cool instead of trading for a middle schooler, but in about 6 years when that middle schooler is 18 and we're like, oh my goodness gracious, I can't believe we got that middle schooler, we're going to think back to this moment here. So it's always difficult when you're like, oh, we're trading for something that we don't know, which is also why I personally was so high on when the Giannis rumors were highly active on us getting Giannis, because as Dylan Harper is an unknown, as other people, Giannis isn't. So I was so high on, like, we have the ability to get a top 15 player to ever play in this game. Like, we can go, like, we could argue where or whatnot, but to me, he's right now firmly within the top 15, if not firmly in the top 20, to go get a guy like that. Those are the kind of guys that I want to instantly go make splashes for, because I just felt like we were ready. So I do get what you're saying, and like we're trading for a middle schooler, but at the same time also thinking like it's how much far ahead do you want to think, how much progressively, and how much behind do you want to be. We were talking about Drake Powell, and he is off the board. I think that Drake Powell is going nice. Brooklyn's going to like that pick. I think Brooklyn's going to like Drake Powell. I think Brooklyn's really going to like Drake Powell. 40% on catch and shoot threes. I'm just seeing that. I don't see the Bucks trading Giannis after the draft is settled, and I don't think it because I do think that they're looking at the Eastern Conference and they're like, wait, if we can just get a couple pieces, we by far are going to have the best player in every series. We can get it done. So I don't think they're going to do that. And Giannis has never said, like, I need to get out. So though Giannis is like, it's been speculated because of the fact that he wants to win, and we really don't think that they're going to be able to make the financial moves, and it makes sense for them to move off of Giannis if they're going to have to get some pieces at the same time because the Eastern Conference is so weak. I think Giannis possibly could have been moved if Halliburton and Tatum are healthy. I think that could have been more likely then. But yeah, Brooklyn's drafting a whole starting five this year. And Klingon, Williams, and now Yang in Portland. Getting Ayton for Vassell in a couple seconds would be a good choice for. I like Ayton. I'm not going to lie. I would honestly maybe rather get Rob Williams for Keldon Johnson. And the reason being, and I understand that Rob Williams is not a reliable health risk, but I also think that Rob Williams as a player, athletically and defensively in the front court with Wemby, would be insane. And you're not asking a lot out of him. Like when the Celtics were there, like he was kind of make or break in the Warriors series in 22. Like when he was on the floor, he actually changed the complexion of that series. We're not asking him to really play heavy minutes, but when he can come off the bench and if he can do that, those kind of things are like, oh, wow. That's crazy. So, absolutely. Fox, Castle, Harper, Sochan, Wemby, the starting five next year. KJ, sixth man. I don't think KJ is really going to be our sixth man. I think that KJ is going to be more of like our eighth or ninth, to be quite honest with you. I would like Fox, Castle, Harper, Sochan, Wemby, as I've said, to kind of be that starting five, but thinking about it too, it's either going to be that or you're going to have Harper come off the bench and have Harper, Vassell, and then have like Barnes and Sochan there. It'll be interesting. Kayvon Looney would be, like, those are the type of guys I love. Kayvon Looney would be beautiful on this roster. A nice pick-and-roll big who can rebound, who has been in massive moments. You're not going to fool him. He is smart. If he can play in a Steve Kerr-style offense for years, absolutely. Kayvon Looney would be another guy who would be a perfect role player. And he could teach Wemby something, a little something too. Like, I understand, obviously, his game's not like that, but, like, he has been around the block. So, I definitely think that that'd be fun for him. Yeah, KJ's time might be up. I might be up here. Golly. Kuminga, I think, is too much money. I think Kuminga would be nice on someone like the Miami Heat, where they have an opportunity for him to be opportunity for him to really be a player. I just don't think Kuminga, there's a level of maturity and a level of ball style of play that we have that I don't think Kuminga would fit into. He's too much isolation. There's a place for him in the league, and you find spots for players like that in the league, but I just don't think our rosters need it. I think we need to be a ball movement-ish based team, but really our pick-and-roll style team. We have too many guards that can get downhill too quickly, that if we run a pick-and-roll with guys on the outside, run a nice two-man game, I think our two-man game could be elite. Champagne and some cash to somebody in the next 3 or 4 picks to get McNeely. Ooh. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think you get a better champagne. You can get a better level of champagne. I wouldn't hate that. Horford over Looney, I agree with that just because you get the shooting prowess with Horford, and you get a little bit more defensive versatility. But if you can get Looney, get Looney. Hold on. I need to write this down. Do I think that Mitch is a good decision? I think it's a fine decision. I think it's difficult to know how good of a coach somebody is off of one scattered year of coaching. Like, I didn't love a lot of his decisions. I felt like his substitution patterns of, Castle was a little off during the season. I understand, they've been really trying to make sure Wemby's minutes have been, nothing too crazy. But just the times of when he sat Wemby, I didn't love it. We didn't always look as organized as I'd want to offensively, and that also can come down to our players being young. But I also think that if you're just saying, hey, you're going to be the coach starting in November, and you're still always going to have Gregg Popovich looming over you, not in a bad way, because it's Gregg Popovich, the greatest coach we've ever seen, but he's going to be looming over you, you don't get to be fully yourself, and now he gets to be fully yourself, and I think the players like him. So I think that we keep Mitch, and I'm glad. I like Mitch. I like the fact that we have him, and I like the fact that we're giving him a chance. I do like we're getting him a chance. No, Jeremy as a center was terrible. Jeremy's meant to be a 4 who can maybe play a 3 in certain settings and play a 5 in very certain settings. Like, if you're playing against the Warriors and they're going small ball with Draymond, he can be a 5, but that kind of thing. Ooh. I love this is going to the Hawks. I do love Asa Newell in Atlanta. I think that was a good pick for them. Veteran big behind Wemby is what you're going to want. The youth, I think, is cool, but I think at some point you need a mixture on your roster. It can't just be all young. Even this year on the Thunder, they were the second youngest team to ever win a championship, but you still have Hartenstein, who has been in the league for multiple years. You get Alex Caruso, a veteran who has been in the league for multiple years. You need a couple veteran pieces, and we have Harrison Barnes right now, and De'Aaron Fox can be considered a veteran who's been in the league long enough. But you would also like to get another big behind to be a true, to be a veteran presence as a big, for sure. The pressure for replacing Pop's going to be insane. But the thing about the Spurs is we do understand San Antonio, and we're going to allow things to grow and allow people to grow. So it's tough. When you replace an all-time great, the expectations are always high. Gerard Mayo having to come in for Bill Belichick, that seat that's incredibly difficult to do, and after 1 year of him doing exactly what we expected him to do, he got fired. I was fine with it because you get a super good coach in Mike Vrabel, but that's the same kind of thing. When you have to replace a super good coach, it's really difficult to be comfortable. And you've got to basically, as this organization with the Spurs, like the Spurs, and they don't just willy-nilly fire people like that. We know that. But, like, they can't, like, Mitch Johnson's coming in there knowing that, oh, if I have a little bit of a disappointing season this year, like this team's only like 42-40, we're a 9 seed, we didn't really pan out because we're young, like he's not going to get fired. So as long as he knows he doesn't have like, oh my god, goodness gracious, this is going to be the end of it, it'll be okay for him. Yeah, OKC only had the 2 vets, but they had 2 vet. It was 2 vets that they didn't have last year, and it was the 2 vets that made the difference with them last year losing and this year winning, in my personal opinion. Yes, I think the Spurs have been building out a very good coaching tab. I like this. I like Sweeney. I do like Sweeney, and then also Pop still's gonna have his hands on this organization and how we play. They're still gonna have organization how they play, so I think that's gonna be very interesting there. So I like it. I'm actually surprised though. Back to this draft real quick. I'm really surprised Jace Richardson hasn't been off the board yet. I didn't think Kasparis was going to drop so low. I thought Miami was going to take Jace at 20, but golly, Kasparis did drop. Whoever gets Jace Richardson is going to be getting a nice player out of Michigan State. They really are. I like Newell. I like Asa Newell. I think he would have been good. I just don't think he needed. I mean, you got him at 23, so I just didn't think you needed to take him at 14. I really like Carter Bryant at 14. I really, really do. I really, really do. Ooh. The Sacramento Kings are trading. Neat Clifford is who they're targeting, possibly. I think Neat Clifford, that's another guy going into Sacramento, could do something nice. Yeah, Adams would have been really nice to get. Adams would have been extremely nice to get. Would have been extremely nice to get. Mm-hmm. All right. Guys, this has been super fun. I'm going to take a couple more questions here, and then I am going to end the stream unless you guys want me to be here for the remainder of the draft, or remainder of the first round of the draft. But I got a few more questions I'm going to take, and then we'll see how it goes. 26 and 27 from Brooklyn. Get Wolf and McNeely. We can't only go for. We can't only get new players. I know. I love it too. I love it, but like we only can't go new players. But I do love the idea of trading back into the first and getting one more player. If it was another player that we would get, I would like to get Danny Wolf, McNeely, someone like that. I think there's still some talent at the back half of this draft. I truly think there's some talent between McNeely, Wolf, Maxime, Noah Penda. I like him too. Rasheer Fleming is still there. So, like, there's still some talent. There's still some talent. Does anybody have any more questions right now at the moment? Yeah, a big to have Wemby to move to the 4 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Yes, and the depth of the draft this year is crazy. Like, Neek Clifford, I think, could actually be a real player in the league. Like, I like Neek Clifford. I think he could be, as a guy like that who can rebound at a super high level, I think he could be good. I think he could be good. Hey, been a pleasure having you on here. Appreciate it. I appreciate the channel. I appreciate you feeling like the channel's been interesting. If you guys haven't checked out any of the Spurs Digest videos, if you guys are new because of the draft, check them out. We got the difference between me, Josh, and Brian. We're 3 different guys, 3 different perspectives, but all still same love for the Spurs. So we appreciate all of that very much so. But, yeah. I think that we could end up trading back into this draft because of how much talent has fallen. I know we traded the 38th pick, but with how much talent has fallen, I do think we could have traded back in. We could have definitely kept the 38th pick, and I would have been fine with it. But the fact that we didn't just makes me believe that their Spurs are thinking of something, of some move. It doesn't have to be a massive one, but they're thinking of just some move that like needs to happen. And so there's a chance that we don't keep Carter Bryant at 14, even though I'd love to. Like, we could be trading for something big. We could be trading for Bam. We could be trading for someone like that. I truly think that Bam is, like, on the radar. And I would love that. But I think Bam's on the radar. I really do. 500, basically, we were going to be a 41-41 team. I know I said that, or I said that earlier. When I was talking about us being 500 earlier, it was essentially us being winning 500 of our games, or winning half of them. It's basically, sometimes when you're talking like that, you're talking in percentages. Yeah, you keep the young nucleus. The last thing one more thought that nobody has said yet. Valanciunas is the perfect big, not going to lie, I do like that. We don't have a chance to get Sabonis, he's too much money. There would be no need to get Sabonis. I think it'd be really good basketball-wise, but to get Sabonis, we would have to trade Harper or Castle. One of the two would have to go, and we would be in a position where it's unnecessary. So I don't think we're really in a position to get Sabonis. Though Sabonis fits the way we play basketball in a high-low. With him and Wemby would be really elite. If you feel the need that we could trade a guard to get a guy like Sabonis, but it'd have to be probably trading Harper and a couple other things. Last thing I'm going to say, though, on our roster that I really love is the fact that when you're in a situation like we are now, you've got your mega superstar, or you got your superstar player, you get your star player, you get your third star or your third level player. You fill it out with role players who can do a little bit of everything, connecting pieces. You need your shooting, you need your passing, you need your defense, you need your athleticism, you need your versatile guy to build a kind of a championship level team. We've got the superstar in Wemby. We've got the star in De'Aaron Fox. We've got that secondary, like, kind of second player in Stephon Castle. The shooting-wise, we've got that now. Carter Bryant's interesting. We'll see what Dylan Harper is. We've got the depth. We've got everything. We now just need those last connecting pieces. We need those guys who you really look like, oh, that's a championship-level piece. And we need that at the big position, and that's what we're going to have to trade. Do we think Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell are championship-level pieces? We don't know. Ooh, Jace Richardson going here. I thought that this would be where Walter Clayton went, but I think that's a perfect pick for them, honestly. Jakob Portal reunion, that would be nice. That would be nice, too. But, yeah, Sabonis and Fox didn't work out. Having that as a 2.0 would be kind of crazy. It would be kind of crazy. Jace Richardson, I think. I like that. I like that pick. But shout out to them. Shout out to them for that. You know, I'm with you there, honestly, waiting until free agency and not needing to trade. We don't not needing to trade at least for something big. At some point, I think we're going to have to move off of Vassell and Keldon, or one of the two, just because of the fact we just have too many players. We just have too many players who can do kind of the same thing. I think we're going to just see some redundancy. Yeah, and there are some good free agents, centers. Depending, you've got Clint Capella, you've got Brook Lopez, you've got Andre Drummond, Al Horford. Depending what Miles Turner does, Luke Cornett does, Naz Reid does. So you've got some centers who can actually come in here and play a bit. So it just really depends on what teams want to do in the offseason. All my video predictions didn't happen. What do you mean? Do you mean like the trade predictions, or do you mean like what predictions do you mean exactly? Nick Claxton would be a guy that you could run. He's a nice rim runner. He's an athletic player who you can kind of work down low in the post with. I do like Nick Claxton if he would be available. I don't. You'd have to make a trade with Brooklyn to do such a thing, and that'd be a little bit difficult. Yes, we need a big who's willing to do some of the dirty work. Yeah, I'm not sure about Ollie, but it's okay. I don't know what the question was, but I'll give an answer if I get a question to that or an answer to that statement. If you're trading for Trey Murphy, that is probably a first-round pick, Carter Bryant, Keldon, something like that. He would cost a lot. Carter Bryant's moving if you're trading Trey Murphy. So it'd be that. It would be definitely another first. And you're probably moving off of a little more, too. You're probably moving even off a little bit more, too. But whatever the case may be for Trey Murphy, I would do it. Because unless you're obviously getting, like, you're not trading Harper, Castle, Fox, and Wemby are not getting traded for Trey Murphy. After that, anyone on the team could be traded. If it had to be Sochan, I'm trading Sochan. If it had to be Carter Bryant, if it had to be both of them in a first, like, I would do that. Trey Murphy is that nice of a player, and he's on a nice contract, too. So Trey Murphy would be perfect. The way he can shoot, the way he can play, you could have him there. But, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys coming here for our first ever live stream. I know at least 2,000 of you guys throughout the entirety of the thing checked in at one point, so I appreciate all of you guys there. Thank you very much. I'm going to definitely be signing off right now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the draft. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your time. We'll definitely be setting up more live streams here very soon. This is me, Keenan Warner, as you can see at the bottom. Spurs Digest. We've been very much enjoying life. We've been very much enjoying everything that's been going on here. We want to give a big, big thank you to you guys. And this was a good first stream. Next time, I hope there's 200 to 300 to 400 to 500. I'd love for thousands of people to be in this stream so we can enjoy it together. So I would love to be able to do this with you guys more often. That's the goal, to do this more often, to have some fun on some streams. And I appreciate all of you guys. I really do, more than you'll ever know. I'll be seeing you guys very soon here, talking about probably Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper tomorrow, when I can even have more time to think about it, sink it in, and get these feelings of what's going on here. But we'll be talking soon, and we'll probably try to set this up to do this every week. So I appreciate all of you guys, and I thank you very much for all this. This is a lot of fun, and I appreciate it.